for a loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2060, Baron versus Arteaga.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Barone, case is not a very difficult one. You met Mr. Arteaga?
Arteaga.
Take your hands out of your pockets. At a bar?
Yes.
When?
Back in June of 2021?
Did you ever live together?
No.
You always maintained your own residence and he his?
Yes, the apartment I owned was always underneath my name.
But he never lived there?
No.
Good. But you bought a car?
Yes.
In what month and year did you buy a car?
I ordered a Tesla back in, if I'm not mistaken, May.
May of what year?
May of 2021.
Was it a new car?
Yes.
Give me a rough number. How much was it?
Out the door, 72,000.
And what color did you order?
Black.
This is what the case is about, and it's going to take me very, very little time to resolve the case. You ordered the $72,000 car in black, and because of whatever strange reason, you wanted the car wrapped. Now, I think most people know what that means, and I think I know what that means. That means you take a perfectly good car and you put a different finish on it. Is that what it means?
Yes.
You buy a car that has a nice shiny finish and looks clean, and then you put something on it that, I don't know, looks like it's been sitting out under a volcano.
I guess you could say that.
What?
I guess you could say that.
I just did. And that cost money. It cost an additional, I think, according to the papers that I read, $3,800.
No, it's $3,950.
How much?
$3,950.
And you had some of that money, but you gave him, transferred to him, $1,800 on your credit card.
Yes, so it was an agreement made between...
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't. You transferred to him $1,800 towards this wrap on his car.
I made the payment for him.
You made the payment for him on a credit card?
Yes.
And according to you, your arrangement was that he would pay you back monthly $100.
Correct.
You don't dispute that.
She offered.
Yeah, she offered. And you did, in fact, on 3 separate months, pay her back $100.
Yes.
And that means that, in your view, it was a loan.
Well, it was more of a gift.
Well, then why would you pay her back $100 a month, Mr. Arteaga?
Because our finances are much different.
What do you mean?
I was getting a car. I ordered a car, so it was a gift for me. Because she already knew that I was looking for a PPF, which is a paint protection film. So I'm more...
Listen to me.
Yeah.
You're not answering my question. You're doing a dance around my question. If it was a gift to you, this $1,800 towards the wrap for your car, why did you pay her back $300?
To help her out.
Yeah. And then you stopped, because that sounds ridiculous. You still have the Tesla?
I still do.
Yes. You making payments on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical superintendent.
Expensive car.
Indeed it is.
You're a single guy?
Yes.
That's what single guys do with their money. Tell me why you stopped paying her back, Mr. Arteaga.
Things got sour very quick.
So things got sour with the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. And is that when you stopped paying her?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500 is what he owes you for the balance of the loan. Thank you. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Annabelle.
We broke up. It was a nasty breakup. There was bad feelings and tensions between the both of us.
It was a bad breakup, yes, but there's a lot more details to it.
It was just out of pettiness at the end of the day.
Because she caused a lot of rift.
I'm just not going to loan out money to just anyone from here on out.
I'm glad it's over.
And I'm really happy I get my $1,500 back.
Sarah and Judy.
Now that we've been here for a little while and I've been learning from you and all these cases that we've seen, still, rule number 1, never give a boyfriend money and expect to ever see it again. You will never see it again. It gets messy, it gets entangled, and we see it time and time again. So it's just hits even harder at home.
Have you noticed, Sarah, that it's probably 80-20 that women give money to boyfriends?
At least what we've seen here, yes.
You know, and if this is a microcosm of the world, and I don't know what that is, I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been doing this kind of business for 30 years, and I can't figure out why. Perfectly lovely young woman, guy's buying a $72,000 car and says, hey, babe, I'm short $1,800. Well, if you're short $1,800, buy a cheaper car.
Yeah.
You know, there are cars that cost less than $72,000. Anyway.
But women should be smarter and not agree to do
smarter.
that.
They ought to make mandatory watching these cases as part of a growing up process.
A lot of great life lessons, for
Yes.
sure.
Case 2073, Joseph versus Williams. All parties, please step forward.
Donnell Joseph is suing his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, for personal property.
Mr. Joseph, these two ladies are your half-sisters?
My half-sister and her daughter, my niece.
So, what's your first name?
Martha Williams.
Martha is your half-sister.
Yes,
And your first name?
Tina.
Tina is your niece.
yes,
And you and Martha had the same mother.
yes,
Your mother had a house. The house was in her name. Your mother passed away in the early 70s.
yes,
At that time, she was married to your father, not your father, correct? And your father lived in the house until he died.
yes.
And he died in what year?
2018.
Somehow the house, which had been in your mother's name, never went through a probate process. So as far as the law was concerned, the house remained in her name. It never went to her surviving spouse or her children when she passed away in the early 70s. What I'm reading is when your father passed away in 2018, the house sort of remained vacant for a while. For how long?
Since he passed away.
So nobody has lived there.
Correct.
And you knew your father passed away, I assume?
Yes,
And you knew your mother passed away.
yes.
And after your mother passed away, she passed away in 1971 or 1972, did you ever visit with your father in that house?
I visit with my father. I lived in the house.
From when to when?
Well, I lived in the house 1963 until like 72, and I started moving out. But I would still go
Well,
back to the house because it's my family home.
I want to know the last time, Mr. Joseph, you lived in the house.
1993.
So almost 30 years ago. And where have you been the last 30 years?
I've been in New York. I've been incarcerated.
You've been incarcerated from when to when?
93 to 2012.
So 1993 is when you last lived in the house,
Correct.
but you were released from prison in 2012.
Yes.
So for the last 10 years, you have not been back to the house.
I've been back to the house, but not living there as a resident.
Okay. So for 10 years,
Right.
as an adult, how old are you?
I'm 64.
As an adult, from age 54 to 64, you had access to the house, visited your father in the house.
Right.
Not before then.
Right.
Okay. And you haven't lived there full time in decades.
Correct.
This is what your lawsuit wants.
Caption coming up.
You had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures, and you didn't do it.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. As long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle or a Boy Scout book. Let's start being real.
Okay.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Donnell, Tina, and Martha.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
Your lawsuit is seeking $10,000
Yes.
because, according to you, the defendants disposed of your property that was invaluable. And I'm going to describe the property that you say was invaluable. A 1911 Boy Scout handbook
Yes.
that you treasure.
Yes.
You should have taken it out of the house in 30 years if you treasured it. A mountain bike purchased in what year?
Was it 71 to 72 around there? I know it was a free spirit, 10-speed I got. That was in 1970 in the Univega.
You wanted it, this 50-year-old mountain bike? You should have taken it over the last 10 years. A vintage reel-to-reel tape player.
Yes.
You know how many of those I threw in the trash? Do you have any idea how many of those I threw in the trash? You got those a half a century ago. Oh my God, I remember them, big reels, and how excited we were. You could talk into a microphone, and then you could hear your voice come back, and then all of a sudden you got a phone. You could do that, the same thing. So everybody took these things, and they couldn't find enough places to dispose of them. It's not vintage anything. It's a piece of trash.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
About what?
Okay, the reel-to-reel tapes, right? Some of the tapes had speakings of my brother and Martha's daughter.
Then you should have taken them with you. In 40 years, if they were treasures of yours, sir, and you're 64 years old, I would want those treasures around me. And you had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures. And you didn't do it. You just left them in your father's house.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. Okay. This is how we connected to our father, because everybody has left, everybody has died. So as long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle? As long as he had a bicycle or a Boy Scout book?
The Boy Scout book was handed down to me from my father's.
Let's start being real.
Okay.
Okay, let's start being real.
Okay.
And the first draft of my published manuscript.
Yes.
Why didn't you take that with you?
For safekeeping, I let my father hold it because
Well, that's not a good idea, sir. How old was your father when he passed away?
Oh, he was 88, but my father's mind was sharp as a tack. He kept everything.
If you wanted it, your father passed in 2018, is that what you're telling me?
I couldn't get nothing out of the house, so...
I don't know whether you could or whether you couldn't. When did you make just a second. When did you make an effort to remove your forget about the bike, forget about reel-to-reel tape recorder, forget about the nonsense. Your manuscript. When did you write this manuscript?
I wrote it over a couple of years. It's the first draft of this book.
It's the first draft of that book?
This book.
Well, now you have the book.
But I needed to draft it because the other draft I'm working on the second book that goes along with this book, I don't have certain notes and things that I had.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it doesn't.
It doesn't exist anymore. And if you wanted it, you should have gotten it. In 2018, when your father died, you were out of prison. Where were you living?
I was living in New York.
And where did your father live?
He lived in Los Angeles.
Between 2012 and 2018, how many trips did you make to visit with your father?
About 3.
And when did you publish that book?
2015.
So you published that book during your father's lifetime?
Yes.
And if you needed the manuscript, you came to visit your father. A manuscript, it's this big. That's how big a manuscript is.
Yes.
Where were you living in New York?
In Albany.
You have your own apartment or your own home?
House.
Do you own or rent?
Own.
When did you purchase it?
My wife, we bought it together. It was in 2009.
So you're married?
Yes.
Have children?
No.
So you and your wife purchased a house in 2009. How much did you pay for the house?
$109,000.
Are you still living there?
Yes.
So you had plenty of room in the house. You had plenty of room for a manuscript, tapes, a manuscript that you were working on. You weren't working on the manuscript long distance. What I'm telling you, Mr. Joseph, is the things that you're suing for are nonsense.
Okay.
If things that you wanted, that a grown-up man, 64 years old, gets if he wants them, it's not that you're homeless, you have a home that you purchased. You went to visit your father 3 times, anything of value. We're not talking about furniture and antiques and a grandfather clock. We're talking about things that can fit in a tissue box.
Yes.
You put them in your suitcase and take them with you if they're valuable.
I couldn't visit California before that because of the conditions of my parole. So the times that I could go, I can go out there, and I had to have...
You told me you went out there 3 times.
Yes.
When your father was alive.
When I had permission to go. So I couldn't, after my father passed away, I couldn't go in the house because that would violate the probate thing, so I had permission to go into the house.
You're not understanding me, Mr. Joseph.
Okay.
You're not understanding me. You went there 3 times after you were out of prison, after you had a home, after you were married. When you went there with a suitcase, don't tell me violating your parole unless you told me that. And in the suitcase should have been, when you returned from California to New York, small things of value that you say were invaluable to you, including a manuscript. Forget the bicycle. Forget the tape-to-tape reel recorder. The tapes that you say were precious to you, if they belong to you, put them in a suitcase. So there's a lot more about this that I don't quite understand. There's a lot about this that I don't quite understand. When your father passed away, who got the house?
The house is...
Your father passed away, what happened to the house?
The house is still in probate.
Oh,
So during the probate thing, I had to have permission to take anything out of the house.
Forget, I'm telling you, I've answered your lawsuit, sir.
Okay.
I've answered your lawsuit.
Thank you.
That you're a 64-year-old man, and if something that could fit in a tissue box was that precious to you when you visited your father and you had a home, you would have taken it with you when you left.
Certain things I couldn't take.
This is not a tea dance.
Caption, coming up.
The property has lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this go. I lost a sister.
This isn't the probate court. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Donnell, Tina, and Martha.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
I asked you if the house is still in probate, which is unfortunate because people didn't take care of the business. Who are the beneficiaries of the sale of the house?
Me, my sister LaWanda, my half-brother Justin Joseph, my sister Sherry's 2 sons.
Okay, let's try to clarify this. Are you the executor of the will?
There's no will. My mom's the
executive.
administrator of the probate.
And I just got to be administrator. We had to go back and forth to court. We had no way of getting in and out of the house because we had no keys.
Okay, and your father, I assume, had no will.
He had no will.
What's the value of the house?
Well, we don't know because since Martha became the administrator,
Just
we
a
have...
second, what's the address of the house?
My mom had the house appraised at $250,000.
She's going to tell me.
Sarah.
So the off-market says it's approximating $464,000. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 858 square feet.
And the estimate?
The range is between 400 and 515.
Ooh, well, the family has a valuable asset that has yet to be divided after all this time. It's a good lesson for everybody out there. Make a will. Now you can tell me.
Thank you. My grandma, which is their mother, she bought the house on her own with my mom's last name, which is her dad's statement. It's her maiden name, who she was married to. We don't know if they were married. That's what we're going through in probate. It's a process, but the beneficiaries would be Donnell, my mom, and 2 heirs of a deceased sibling. Donnell has also been in jail for most of my life. He hasn't been to California at all, so I wanted to back that up as well.
Well, he's not entitled to anything.
Okay.
If he wanted these items that were valuable to him, he should have taken them during his 64 years.
The most safest place that I had in the world for my value
Well,
to
that's
be
too
held
bad.
was
If
my
you
father.
own a home in New York with your wife and you had an opportunity to take these valuable things because you said you visited with your father after 2009, then you should have taken them. And don't tell me it was the safest place because...
Not only the safest thing, but my father, he lost 2 sons. And the only thing that he had in his house is the things that was left over from his children. And to take anything that was of value away from his children would have hurt my father. So the safest place for all our property.
Mr. Joseph, you don't think you're going to prison hurt your father?
Yes.
Okay,
That's why I changed my life around.
Let's get real. Okay, you're not getting any money here.
Okay.
You're going to wait for probate, and in the probate procedure, which hopefully won't take forever, but it clearly can because people are irresponsible and don't create a will, it is likely that you will have part of the proceeds of this house. Likely. Only because if your mother passed away, and if she was in fact married to your father or lived with him at that time in California, if there was a common law relationship and they did have children together, then you as an offspring would be entitled, if there was no will, to part of the proceeds of this house.
Yes. When she bought the house, she bought it as a married woman. So once she didn't buy it as a single property.
That's something, Mr. Joseph, you don't have to convince me of. You have to convince the probate judge of.
Okay.
You also have the counterclaim that's ridiculous, and I'm not entertaining it. It's really just stupid. Stay with probate. When is the probate proceeding supposed to be finished?
Well, we're going through mandatory settlement.
One thing I want to say, Your Honor, however this probate is, I wanted to, the property has lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this go. I lost a sister. My niece, she's something else, but I love my sister.
This isn't the probate court, Mr.
I love
Joseph.
my sisters.
This is not the probate court, Mr. Joseph. And I suggest that if you love your sister...
She know I love her.
Just a second. If you love your sister, and you're
I don't know how
64
she
years
could do
old,
this to me.
and you're 64...
When you know I love you.
Shh. Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
I know you can get emotional in situations where family is involved, and your sister clearly is sick because she's using oxygen.
I just had liver surgery.
Mr. Joseph, what I'm telling you is, if you have an opportunity in the probate court, I'm actually telling this to both you And Miss Williams, if you have an opportunity at your age and your stage to settle something that gives each of you something, maybe less than you would get if somebody was disinherited, but at this stage in life, at 64 years old, somebody who just had liver surgery and someone who must rely on oxygen in order to breathe, my common sense tells me that what you do is not to give the whole thing away to lawyers who are there sucking up whatever profits there are going to be in this house. Because if the house is worth $200,000, you're going to get a bill for $140,000 for the probate administrator, for the lawyers, and you're going to wind up with zippity-doo-dah. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished. You have no case, Mr. Joseph. Rely on the probate system. I wish you good luck. I said your countersuit's ridiculous. And I'm dismissing.
I have proof.
I want to tell you something. Your countersuit for having to rehire somebody to move is ridiculous. I'm telling you, rely on the probate court. We are done here.
Would you please let me present my countersuit?
No, I read it. I read it. I'm dismissing it on its face. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Donnell, then Martha.
All I can say is, I love my sister.
Just the same thing that's happening, nothing.
Whether it's a probate thing or not, that ain't gonna never change.
I don't want to hear anything else.
I'm always loving, because that's my sister.
Let the probate court decide it.
Sarah and Judy.
You know, at 25, after doing season 1 of this show, I created and executed a will because this is a situation we've seen far too many times, and it's so unfortunate to see the breakdown of a family over something that could have been prevented had the mother, father, grandfather, grandmother created a will when they were alive to tell the rest of us how they'd prefer their property to be disposed of.
It's fascinating to me that their mother is gone for 50 years. And for 50 years, that title to that house, which is a...
Never got flagged, never was...
Nobody ever thought about it.
Yeah.
And the father lived there for 40 years.
Must have at least paid the taxes and maintenance
because
on it.
Absolutely. And then he's gone, and everybody is in this awful state of limbo. And you know what it is with all those siblings and half-siblings and grandchildren and whatever. Even if the house, she says she had it appraised for $250,000. You looked it up and
it was much more, but it's hard to tell.
$400,000. But even if it is, and it has to be divided with 6 people, that's a substantial chunk of money. But it doesn't look like for either one of them it's life-altering money. He lives in a home. He has a wife. He looks as if he's okay since he's been released from prison. But he has health issues. His sister has health issues. And they're going to spend the last years of the...
Stressed, worried about this probate.
Angry. I mean, I saw how emotional Mr. Joseph got. I love my sister. Well, if you love your sister, then you don't sue her.
Yeah.
I don't understand it anyway. Your advice is solid and sound, and I support it.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Former landlord Charles Ashley for sabotaging their business, vet bills, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2036, Carter versus Ashley.
Thank you. Welcome. Your sisters, is that correct?
Yes.
You decided, according to your complaint, to go into a business, some sort of a doggy daycare. In what month and year did you decide to go into that business?
This year, 2 months ago, May.
Do you have any dogs of your own?
Yes.
How many?
I have a poodle and 2 pits.
And you?
I have 4 pit bulls.
Did they all live in your home?
They did, yes.
They did?
Yes.
The 2 of you decided to go into this alleged business and needed some space, according to you, and went to the defendant who was renting a house. Is that right, Mr. Ashley?
No, it's not a house.
What is it?
It's a building.
What kind of building?
It's a commercial building.
Okay. On this commercial building lot, there's a backyard or a back
yes.
empty space, and it's an open space with a fence.
Yes.
So it's not a home.
No.
What arrangements did you make with the Carter sisters to rent them that space?
I made arrangement with Deborah Carter.
Yes.
Charles hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Deborah Carter.
Correct.
That's you?
Yes.
When for the first time did you meet Deborah?
I think it was around the 4th of June.
And she wanted to bring some dogs onto your property?
Correct.
How many dogs did she want to bring on your property?
She didn't tell me. She told me she had a kennel. And when I got there and she had the dogs there in 2 cages, it was 7 dogs, 7 pit bulls.
In cages?
And yes, and they're there today.
They're still there?
Yes.
May I see them, please?
I don't have them, and I didn't know what to get together.
Okay, I'd like to see what pictures you have, sir.
He hands documents to Kevin.
This is the 30-day notice that I've given her, and those are the pictures where she damaged.
Miss Carter, sometime after June of this year, did you place dogs in this fenced-in open space in cages?
Yes.
Loud. You hear the way I'm talking?
Yes.
And how many dogs did you place in the cages?
At that time, it was 7.
7 adult dogs?
No, there's 3 adults and 4 puppies or 5.
How old were the puppies?
They were 6 months, 5 or 6 months.
Who did the dogs belong to?
Me.
So all those dogs...
Well...
let's get it right the first time. This is not going to get easier. This is going to get harder, Miss Carter. So the 7 dogs that you... Stop playing with your papers. The 7 dogs that you placed in the cages were your dogs.
Mine's my sister's and another friend.
How many were yours? You had 4 pit bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Were your 4 pit bulls there?
Yes.
Yes, that's a yes. So you're 4. Your sister has 2 pit bulls. Were her... Look at me. Your sister has 2 pit bulls. Were her 2 pit bulls there?
Yes.
So that's 6. And somebody else had 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the person who had 1?
They're not here. It's a friend. We were watching their dog. They have a dog.
Okay, so you put your 4 pit bulls, your sister's 2 pit bulls, and a friend's pit bull in 2 cages.
No.
How many cages?
There are 4 cages, but...
Okay, I'd like to see pictures of the 4 cages. There you go.
Denise hands a photo of caged pit bulls to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And that's just to separate them.
Your Honor, when she...
By sex.
Shh. Just a second. Prior to meeting the defendant, where did you keep your 4 pit bulls?
In the yard at my home.
Was it in the backyard that you kept the 4 pit bulls?
Yeah, they had space in the backyard, but they stayed in the house. And then when it's time to do their thing, they go outside. They stayed in the house in the living room.
So they were house dogs?
Yes.
And what about your 2 pit bulls?
I stayed in the front house. They stayed in the house with me.
On what date did you bring your pit bulls to the yard? June 4th?
June 6th.
6/6. And you paid him for a month. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes.
How much did you pay him for the month?
$500.
And the 3 puppies that were 6 months old, what did you intend to do with those?
We had people that wanted them. We were supposed to move...
Just a second. Were they yours or hers? Who did the 3 puppies belong to?
Me.
They belong to you. So don't speak for her.
Okay.
Good.
I've been speaking for all my life.
I don't care what you've been doing all your life. Right now, I'm getting answers to someone who may or may not be swift enough or savvy enough not to tell me the truth. Did you ever have more than 7 dogs in the yard?
No.
Okay. So this is what I'm sort of confused about. Of the 7 dogs that you kept in his yard, 6 of them were pit bulls that belonged to you. And what you're suing him for is, you say, because of him, you lost your kennel business where you want, well, that's what it says here. You lost your kennel business.
Daycare.
What?
It's a
dog
daycare.
daycare.
It's a daycare.
There's no dog daycare. They were your dogs.
No, we were supposed to be inside. We were only supposed to be outside for a week. The business is a business, like he said. It has a storefront. It has a middle section. The storefront is where we take the small dogs. When you come in, we'll greet you, assess it, bring in the small dogs. If you have bigger dogs, he has a middle section. We were supposed to split the building in half.
And
he never cleaned the inside of the building. We had to go in there, power wash it ourselves. We bought our own paint. We were only supposed to be outside for 2 weeks until his people cleaned the inside for us.
Okay. Is that what you were supposed to do?
No, Your Honor, they are lying.
Okay.
The building was a motorcycle shop. They ain't brought no paint. They ain't cleaned nothing in it. It's still not clean.
Okay.
And
Were
they didn't have no money.
Just a second. How much in total did they give you for rent?
$500.
Is that correct?
Yes.
For the first
Just
month.
a second. Did you give them any more than $500?
No.
Did you have any other dogs other than your 6 dogs and somebody else's 1 pit bull ever on the premises?
No.
No, don't speak. I'm speaking to her. So whatever business you were, your investment in this business was $500.
No. I worked for him May 25th to June 1st. I cleaned out 25 refrigerators.
I don't care. That's not in here.
That was a pay. Yes, it is.
She ain't worked for me.
Just a second.
I sent it to you guys.
Just a second. Miss Carter, there is absolutely nothing here that says that you worked for him and he owes you for that.
Well,
let me tell you what your complaint states. Your complaint says money owed for sabotaging a business, vet bills because one of your dogs was injured, and
I'm not saying
actual and punitive damages for assault. That's what you're claiming.
I'm just saying that I cleaned those appliances. He said that that was a payment for rent. So that was for the second month of rent. It was $500.
Just a second.
He was supposed to pay me every day, but I just told him to put it towards the rent.
Okay.
And that's what we agreed to. So
Okay.
the first month and the second month was paid for.
Listen to me. My question is simple.
Yes. Sorry.
There's only one attitude here, madam. Stand up. Are your dogs still there?
Some of them.
Get them off his property.
Why is that?
It's not
It's
his
over.
property.
Very easy. You want to keep dogs in a cage like this? I can't control that. I am certainly not putting a judicial imprimatur on keeping dogs, and I don't care what breed they are, in cages in a backyard. So what I'm telling you this is you have 24 hours to get your dogs off that property. Get them off. He's going to get an order from a marshal. And if your dogs aren't off that property, they're going to the pound.
So
do you
why is
understand?
Why is that?
I want you to understand. I want you to understand my order, because now we're in August. You started this whole process in June. I'm finishing it before it gets too mucky. Get your dogs off the property. We understand each other?
Why is that?
Why? What did we do? We paid. We
like
did
the
everything.
No. You paid him for 1 month in June.
But we
You paid him. You paid him in 1 month in June. We are now in August. This is a marriage that's not going to go well. Get your dogs off his property, and then you don't have to deal with them anymore. Do you understand?
It's not his
No,
property.
I don't understand. You don't understand that
if it's not his property, then what are you suing him for?
Because he's the one who stabbed me.
Oh, just
And
a
he's the
second.
one who-
Just a second. So if we're eliminating money owed for sabotaging a business, and if you're suing him for assault, then I'll hear your assault. Then I don't have to hear any of the things about the dogs. So all I'm going to hear about is the assault. Tell me what happened. You were assaulted. That's what you want to tell me.
Yes, July 5th, we had came. My witness, if she could speak, she had
No, she wasn't assaulted, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She was assaulted first, actually. She's the first one he swung on.
Okay. Step up. July 5th. Your name is what?
Priscilla Walker.
You don't own any of these dogs, do you?
No, ma'am.
What were you doing on the property on the 5th of July?
I sometimes go and help them with the dogs, clean up and feed the dogs.
And those dogs that were there, they were there for at least a month from June 4th to July 5th.
Correct.
They're 6 pit bulls.
Correct.
Right? That used to be, according to them, in the backyard or in their homes, right?
Correct.
Okay, now, Priscilla, I want you to look at me, and they're your friends, right? So you went over to help them.
Yes.
I want you to tell me what it is that caused them to take these house dogs, dogs that were in their homes and in their backyard if they had to relieve themselves, don't speak, and move them into cages in a backyard in a commercial building. I want you to tell me that.
Your Honor, that wasn't the intent. They moved the dogs for a bigger space because they're entrepreneurs and they wanted to start a business.
Just a second, it's not their business. Business is starting a business with somebody else's dogs, not your dogs. They wanted to start a doggy, uncross your arms. They wanted to start, according to them, a doggy daycare. That I understand. But you don't start a doggy daycare by taking your dogs that are house dogs and putting them in cages in somebody else's backyard.
Why not?
Or somebody else's space.
Your Honor, that's not necessarily true. We're millennials. When you're boosting a business, you want to use yourself and what you have as advertisement, and that's what they did. So the other dog that they did have was a friend, and the friend was actually paying for that dog to stay there. So it did deem it a business at that time.
You still haven't answered my question as to why their 6 pit bulls were in cages when they were formerly house dogs for a month.
Your Honor, the gentleman over here to my left did not allow them they didn't have access to what they paid for.
Just a second. Are you telling me that for a month they didn't have access for the dog? You just told me that you would go there and help them clean up.
To the inside of the building that was promised
I'm not
to them?
talking about the inside of the building.
Okay.
And the
pay clear.
We got the whole yard.
Pay careful.
Junkyard on his side.
The building.
They're not hearing all of you, and you're not answering my question. The 3 of you went there for what purpose on July 5th?
To feed and clean up after the dogs.
How'd you spend the weekend with them?
I was
not speaking to you.
Deborah grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Deborah, Denise, Priscilla, and Charles.
Denise and Deborah Carter claim their former landlord, Charles Ashley, broke an agreement to store their dogs. They also claim he assaulted them. Charles claims he was the one who was assaulted.
Okay, if I was starting a doggy daycare business and I had house dogs, my little Shih Tzus, running around the house where they have been for years, I would not take them and put them in cages in a back vacant lot in order to demonstrate that I had a business.
My dogs slept
just a second.
in the house. They slept in the house. They didn't roam in like your little Shih Tzus. They didn't do that.
Just a second. You told me that they stayed in your house.
I said they slept in the house, in a cage, in an area.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand how you could take your pets.
But they stayed outside.
Because we were offering other things. We wanted to have one.
All right, let's get to the assault. I'm not interested in this. Now.
Your Honor, I have the lease here. I'm paying the owner $4,000 a month.
He lied to the loaner and said he wasn't going to do any sublease, and he subleased.
The only thing I'm interested in is the only thing I'm interested in is the assault. So, Priscilla, don't speak. The 3 of you went there for what purpose on July 5th?
To feed and clean up after the dogs.
Okay, and you had done that before?
Yes.
And when you got there on July 5th, was that over a holiday weekend?
Yes, it was.
It was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday, so July 4th was on a Monday.
Yeah.
How'd you spend the weekend with them?
I was there.
I'm not speaking to you. Had you spent the weekend with them?
No. Yeah.
Okay, you say yes, she says no. I'm not asking you a question. Do you understand? So you spent July 4th.
Go ahead.
You spent July 4th with them. Is either yes or no?
No.
When did you meet them on July 5th?
Around the morning.
Around what time?
11 a.m.
You're asking me with a question.
11 a.m.
I don't know if it was 11. I'm asking you.
11 a.m.
Did you have a discussion with them?
Regarding?
Regarding the dogs, what you were going to do that day.
Of course, we always have discussions about what we're going to do during the day.
When you spoke to Deborah, did you ask her when she had last seen the dogs?
No.
No, you did not. Deborah, prior to July 5th, when had you last seen the dogs?
July 4th.
What time?
It was about 5 o'clock. I was in there, cleaned them up. He came, locked me in for 4 hours.
Okay, so on July 4th, you were in there feeding the dogs.
Yeah.
And July 5th, you went back in the morning again to feed the dogs. Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what happened when you got there on July 5th.
On July 5th, when we went inside to feed the dogs, I went to go turn on the water hose, and I noticed that the water would not come out. That's when they were in the kennels feeding the dogs, and I told Carter that, hey, the water's not on. So the door to the building was open. I believe they both stepped in. When they stepped in, there was like verbal altercation.
So when they stepped in, you heard that there was someone else in the building?
Yeah.
Okay, and that would have been you, sir?
Yes.
On the 5th?
Yes, me and another friend of mine.
Okay, and what were you doing in the building on July 5th?
It was about 6 o'clock that evening. My friend came by the house. He's a general contractor, and I'm renovating the building to set it up for business. So I said, come on, let me take you up here, show you the building. I need your help. We get up there, I open the gate, go in, leave the gate unlocked, and we walk through the building. When I come around, they're in the building.
All three of them or just one?
All three of them.
Had you turned the water off to the hose outside?
No.
Do you
I used
know?
to water the dogs when they didn't come because they'd be barking so, and the neighbors next door, I just moved in, Your Honor. I don't want to make no enemies. That's why I told them I'm not taking no more rent from you. Get the dogs out.
Okay.
I tell them you trespass.
Just a second. So now you went inside, or the Carter sisters went inside.
Yeah, I said
You
that.
heard some noise. Did you go into the building?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened when you went into the building?
When I went into the building, he immediately got very frustrated and said, what are you guys doing here? Why are you here? You need to get off my property, get off my property. They're like, we paid you. We have an agreement. Next thing you know, he pushed Deborah Carter, he pushed her, and then that's when Denise Carter got in the middle and said, no, you're not, don't put your hands on my sister. The situation ensued. The gentleman that was inside stopped everything and walked him out of the building. And as he's walking him out of the building, and we're walking out behind him so that we can try to figure out what's going on with the water, he slams her foot in the door and tries to lock her in and pushes her. And that's when they started pushing on the door because at this point he's trying to lock them in.
Lock them in the building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
When they actually, the gentleman stopped him and the door opened, I seen what type of altercation it was. I didn't want anything to do with it. I'm like,
so at that point, nobody was injured?
No.
Okay, so now you're outside.
Now we're outside.
Okay, and you're outside in the back area where the dogs are.
Correct.
Tell me what happened next.
So as we're walking, I'm walking fast because I noticed that he's walking fast, and I'm like, you're not about to lock me in here. You already just tried to lock them in there.
You mean lock you in the
yard?
yard? So you got out of the yard?
Yes, he tried to close the yard gate on us, which is a really big, tall, black gate. And as soon as he tried to close it, it was just an altercation, a verbal altercation started. He didn't like what was said. I was on the left-hand side.
Tell me what the altercation was.
Everything was said about the business, that they were going to speak to the owner, that, he still owed them money if he wanted them to move out for the rest of the month, that he could just give them the money or whatever and they'll leave. It wasn't a problem.
By the way, I am looking at your lease, and you did lease the premises from June of 2022 to May 31st, 2025 at a monthly rent of $4,000. Are you still paying rent to the owner of the building?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to remove your dogs there.
He's not paying rent. He has an eviction notice too. He owes $4,000. I have a picture of it.
He's lying.
He hasn't paid rent. He hasn't paid rent this month or last month. He got the eviction last month on the 11th.
Okay. Right now, he has not been evicted from the property. Is that correct, or have you?
Right.
I just paid him yesterday.
Why did you say you...
Just a second. Oh, I'm asking a simple question. I have before me, ladies, pay attention. I have before me a lease that gives him 3/4 of the building and the backyard. Until he's evicted, until this lease is deemed void, you have to remove your dogs within 24 hours of today.
Why?
I am evicting you with a marshal tomorrow. Yeah. Get your dogs out of there. He has medical records that he received 5 staples in the top of his head. And that's not something he did to himself.
That happened.
That's not something he... No. Get up, stand up. Where do you think you are?
Denise straightens. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Deborah, Denise, Priscilla, and Charles.
Denise and Deborah Carter have accused their former landlord, Charles Ashley, of breaking their agreement and assaulting them. Charles claims Denise and Deborah attacked him first.
Okay, we're going to get back to this assault because I have other things to do today. You're outside. The gate that he's tried to cross has opened up again. Mm-hmm. And?
He got really angry. He was saying a lot of curse words, you need to remove all your You know what, if you don't remove it, I'm gonna remove it for you type stuff. And after that, he swung with his right hand and it connected with my face. After that, he started punching on all of us, so we had to defend ourselves and fight back.
And then an altercation got started and everybody was fighting with everybody. So it was the three of you and him?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Did you go to a doctor?
No, but I was...
Just a second. Did you take photographs of your face?
No.
What about you? Deborah, were you hit by the defendant?
Yes, I was.
Where were you hit by the
face and my foot? No pictures, and I didn't go to the doctor. I self-healed.
Good. And what about you, Miss Carter? Where were you hit?
Doctor. I had to go to the ER because I had to get stitches. I had 9 stitches.
Okay. Well, tell me about the stitches. That's what I want to know. How did the cut that required the stitches take place?
When he was attacking us, he was swinging on me, and he had a blade in his hand, and I thought he was punching me, but really when I was blocking myself, he was taking...
That was the second occurrence, because after the first one, we tried to leave the situation. He was upset and put out a knife.
We thought we were leaving, yeah.
With
he
the
just
knife.
came back with the knife, and
now I'd like to see the records.
Here's the knife records, and then here's the police records on when he was arrested, and that's just like my stitches and what doctor I went to and like my medication.
Okay. Now I'm going to take a look.
Kevin brings documents to Judy, who reviews them.
Okay, Mr. Ashley, the only thing that I actually want to know about from you is there's no question in my mind that the plaintiff did not cut herself. No question. I want to know how she got cut.
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't even have a wallet on me. I'm 75 years old. I wouldn't even argue with her. I went to the back door, the gate, and they had a trash can where they had propped it open. So I went to move the trash can, and that's when this one hit me and knocked me down. And when I was coming up, Deborah hit me in the head with a 2x4. And blood just went everywhere.
Did you go to the doctor?
Yes.
I'd like to see your report.
It's in the record.
Your Honor, I have a video of what happened. I could just solve this right now.
Oh, I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Do you have it through the assault? I'm just interested in the assault.
It's just the assault.
Just the assault?
Yeah, it's just press
I'd like
play
to
right
see it.
here. Okay, if you press play, you'll see him slamming us out.
Kevin brings Denise's phone to Judy, who watches footage of Charles moving a trash can, then blurry, indeterminate footage.
I don't see any assault.
Well, yeah, but I tell you, my phone fell out the hand.
Well, then don't show me what I can't see. All I know is he has medical records that he received 5 staples in the top of his head on that date. And that's not something he did to himself. No. Get up, stand up. Where do you think you are? You think he did that to himself?
Yes, do you see the tire behind him? He just fell over it.
That's exactly
and all
what
that
happened.
wood behind him, he fell on that stuff.
Listen to me, blunt head trauma, which is what the emergency,
yourself down.
Okay.
You attacked us.
You
You're
have,
attacking us and punching us.
Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. You have now sit. You have 24 hours to get your dogs out of that yard. You want to show me pictures of a trash-strewn yard? That's not where I would keep my precious house dogs for an hour. So get your dogs out of there 24 hours from today.
How do I counter that?
This is not a dance party. I'm ruling now. 24 hours, remove your dogs. You have nothing left to do with him. He wants you gone. I want you gone. I want those dogs out of the cages on that property, and I want them gone within 24 hours. Now, there's no question, Mr. Ashley, that both of you were injured in that altercation. No question. All I'm asking is, subsequent to your arrest, did you have a hearing?
No, Your Honor, I have it right here. They rejected the case.
May I see it?
They wouldn't even hear it.
Charles hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
They rejected it. Did you have a hearing?
They didn't tell me about anything.
They didn't tell you about anything. Well, that's because they rejected the case. Okay, I'm telling you, because I'm issuing an order, I'm giving it to you. You're the lawful tenant of the building. You can take it to a marshal, take it to the sheriff. Those dogs have to be out of there within 24 hours. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
You know, it is what it is.
I thought it was a good decision. It was the truth.
He has no consequences. It just is the reason why you don't believe in the judicial system.
I'm not going to be renting out to them no more, and I'm not going to rent to nobody.
I think that it's so cruel to keep 7 dogs in small crates, day, night.
Especially in a commercial building, open lot.
People shouldn't have dogs that do that. There should be a license required to own a dog, not necessarily to be a dog, but to own another living creature. I don't know what kind of mind would think that it's fair to keep a living creature in a filthy,
dusty,
infested yard in crates for now 3 months. I don't know what kind of creature would do that.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. For personal belongings.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Good. Case number 248, Bolio versus Thompson's Turkey Valley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How old are you, Miss Bilio?
I'm 31.
You have 2 kids?
I have 3 children.
3. How old are they?
I have a 10-year-old daughter and 2 sons that are 4 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
I stay at home with my children.
And how long have you been staying at home?
Since my first son was born.
So for 5 years?
Yep, my first son.
And what had you done before?
Housekeeping, and while I was pregnant with both my sons, I did do beet harvest.
There came a time, sometime, I think, was it last year, that you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
2021.
Yep.
Why?
September 29th of 2020, me and my boyfriend had broken up, so I had stayed in a shelter.
Is your boyfriend the father of either one of these children?
All my children have the same father. Me and him had broken up at the time, and I left from where we were staying at the time. Our living was West Fargo, to the YWCA right away, the homeless shelter. And I was there for like 6 months. And during that time, I had met Carmela, and me and her became friends. And I had introduced her to my brother. And then I moved away for a little while in April, and I came back like the end of May.
Where did you move to?
I went to Texas.
What's in Texas?
A friend.
Where did you meet him?
Here in Fargo when I was 14 years old.
So what brought you to Texas?
That's where he was living, and he told me if I wanted to come live with him there, I could.
You didn't have a job in Texas?
He did.
You?
No, I did not.
And from when to when were you living in Texas?
I left April 15th, and I was there until like...
Of 2021?
Yeah. And then I moved back beginning of June, kind of. And then...
Beginning of June of the same year?
Yes.
So you stayed there for 3 months?
Yeah.
And you moved with your children?
Yep, all 3 of them.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes, all 3 of my children I moved.
Okay, so you took them out of school in April?
My daughter.
Took her out of school in April?
Yep, I did.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes. And we moved.
You took her out of school in April to go to Texas, to live with a friend that lasted 2 months. The fact is you took your daughter out of school. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm dealing with.
Yes, because I had nowhere to live.
Well, there's a big place, but where do you live, in what state?
Minnesota.
In Minnesota?
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference between Texas and Minnesota. And also, there's only 2 months between April, when school is still in session, and June, when it's over.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah, you know this. You're aware of this.
Yes.
Okay. I set this up because I really want to find out what I'm dealing with here. Now, I sort of know. In any event, you had no place to go. Your brother contacted you. You contacted him, and he invited you to come and live with him.
Yes, he did.
All right. That's what he did. You and your 3 children.
Nope, just me and my 2 boys.
So you were going to live with your brother and his girlfriend with your 2 children.
Yes.
You got there when?
October.
Of 2021.
Yes.
Case is relatively simple. Case involves your claim that they have property that belongs to you. And they have a cross complaint that they probably would not have brought, but for the fact that you're suing them. Because I think that they're just happy that you're gone. You moved in with them in October of 2021 and paid no regular rent.
The agreement between me and my brother was to buy food for the house and to give him money when I can.
Okay, now you weren't working. Now you weren't working, so how are you going to buy food for the house?
I was on assistance through Minnesota, so I got SNAP.
So you got food stamps?
Yes, and then I had child support. Well, I was on child support, but I wasn't getting the money. I didn't start getting money until February of 2022. And that's when I start giving him
Just
money
a second.
every so often.
In October of 2021, you were not getting child support.
No.
You were getting food stamps,
Yes.
which you said you would share with your brother.
Yep,
who lives, not yep is not an answer, who lives with his girlfriend, and how many children?
We have no children.
No children at all.
We have dogs.
That's fine. So you were sharing some of your food stamps with your brother and his
All
girlfriend.
of my food stamps went to the house.
Well, that's where you were living.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yes, that's where you were living with your
Yes.
2 children.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm currently unemployed.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works for a cleaning service.
Okay. Now, there came a time that you got a substantial amount of money from the government. What month and year was that?
Just this past April.
How much did you get from the government?
It was taxes.
What kind of taxes? You haven't worked in 5 years.
It was the child tax credit, and I did work when I moved back from
You
Texas.
told me you hadn't worked in 5 years. I want to know what you got money from the federal government for. That's what your brother says. And I was curious, that's why I asked you the questions about working.
It is.
So don't make it up.
It slipped my mind.
What?
I'm sorry.
So that
did
doesn't
do
slip your
housekeeping.
mind.
I did housekeeping, laundry, in a hotel when I moved back from Texas with my mother.
Month. You worked from June 2021 until, we'll find out.
Until like mid-June because I did not have a babysitter for my children.
So you worked for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
How much money did you get from the federal government in April of 2022?
$11,000 from the government for child tax credit.
So you got $11,000, not from working, not that it slipped your mind, because 2 weeks may slip your mind because that's what you worked, if you worked at all. $11,000, you got child care credits. How much did you get for each of your 3 children?
I only filed for 2 of my children.
How much did you get for the 2 boys?
I believe $3,000 for each of them.
That's $6,000. Where's the other 5?
That came to me for the stimulus checks because I did not receive the last stimulus check. They said that my boys did not receive the refund that was coming to them for the stimulus too. So that was all.
So
on
your
tax.
boys got. Let me understand. Let me understand why this country is in such a fiscal morass today. So you got $3,000 for child care credit for each of your children, and the other $5,000 came because you went to an accounting firm, and they said, well, you should have gotten stimulus money for your boys.
Yes.
And you missed that, so we're going to put in for it. So they sent you another 5, or they sent you...
They sent it all together on one.
Okay. All together on one. So that you had plenty of time to go and take care of.
Yes.
Right.
Your judge actually have proof of how much she did get.
Jordan hands a document to Kevin.
Now, when you got this $11,000, that $11,000 was supposed to help get you through COVID.
Yes.
Paying your bills, paying for rent, buying clothes for your children. So you got this money in April of 2022, $11,400. Okay. And then you went on vacation. In what month and year did you go on vacation?
April of 2022.
So the minute you got the money, according to you,
I start looking for a vehicle.
You bought a car?
I started looking for a vehicle.
So you started to look for a car. Now, you've been without a car for a while, but you started looking for a car.
Yep.
And also in April, you asked your friend, your brother's girlfriend, if she would watch your 2 children.
Me and her had a discussion before April.
You didn't go until after you got the money.
Yes.
You knew you were getting the money before April because you were going to apply for it.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I got the thing where it said I was getting the money back, it didn't say that much.
$11,400. So you decided to go on vacation. Where did you go?
I went to Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
Up in the Denver area.
How did you get there?
I was with a friend and they drove.
Male or female friend?
Male.
So you went with a male friend to Colorado for how long?
I was there for a week.
What does this friend do for a living?
I'm not really sure.
You don't know whether this friend works or not?
I met him last year and I kept in contact with him throughout the whole year. And then we just got back in contact February of beginning of 2022.
And you don't know what he does for a living?
I'm not really sure what he was doing for work.
Caption, coming up.
You have no right to give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. Hey, that doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Carmela smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio claims her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, owe for the value of her personal belongings.
Okay, so you went away for a week, and according to what I read, you made arrangements with your friend, your brother's girlfriend, to take care of your 2 children, and you agreed to pay her $400 for the week.
Yes.
And then you went away for the week in April. Did you come back after a week?
Yes, I did.
On what date did you return?
The Saturday right before Easter.
Date?
April 19th, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
I came home and I talked...
April 19th?
Yep, I came home on April 19th and I talked to my brother and Carmela. I stayed at the house for a little while because my boys were not there when I got home.
What a little while?
I stayed at the house for maybe 2 hours and got all my stuff into the house, and my boys were not there. So I believe I went to my sister's house and to my mother's house, and I did not know where my boys were.
Just a second. If your 2 boys weren't in the house...
I had asked them where they were.
You asked them where you were and they told you it was a secret?
No, I asked them where my children were, and they said that they had went with their father.
So you knew where they were?
When I got home, I knew where they were. I didn't know that they had left previous to me arriving home.
When you got home from being away with a new friend in Denver, and you said, where are my boys? Duh, where are my boys? They're with their dad. So you went to your sister and mother's house, and then what happened?
And then the next morning, we left to the cities, and
the next morning?
On Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, who's we?
Me and the friend.
What friend?
My friend that I went to Denver with.
So you went where?
Minneapolis.
How far a ride is that?
4-hour drive.
You intend to stay over there?
No. We were going to go visit some of his friends and then come back. But next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. And I contacted my brother when I did.
You have the hospital records?
No, I do not. I contacted them.
You have, just a second, you have an admission record?
No.
Do you have a bill from them?
No, because I don't get billed.
Of course you get bills. When you leave the hospital, they say either you owe us this amount of money, that's what you get when you're discharged from the hospital. You may not be able to get hospital records, but it would certainly be interesting, madam, for me to know what. The next thing I knew after you were going with your friend to the cities to see some of his friends, you don't know anything until after you wake up in a hospital.
As soon as I woke up, I contacted my brother.
What date?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exact dates.
I mean, you have 3 children. What do you mean you don't know what date?
I don't know the exact dates, but I did contact him as soon as I was able to, because I did not have my own phone.
Don't you see how irresponsible this whole story is for a person who has 3 children?
Yes.
How totally irresponsible it is. And what is sad about it is you appear to be an intelligent person who just seems to go from one place to another based upon, well, I used to know him in Texas, I used to know him in Colorado, I used to know him here. I'll leave my 2 boys with Carmela.
And we don't have no children, so we're taking care of her children while she's out running around doing whatever.
I didn't ask you anything. Okay. I can actually visualize the picture, and sadly, so can you. What date did she finally contact you after she disappeared again?
So after a Thursday after Easter Sunday.
The Thursday after Easter Sunday, so that's the
21st of April. Is the Thursday after Easter this year.
It was actually Monday, the 25th.
We got records.
That's when I came home.
I don't care. I just want to know when you showed up again.
I contacted my brother, and I let him know what had happened. And then he was asking about our father, like I was supposed to go pick up our father.
I don't care. Let's get to the lawsuit. Now that I understand the characters that I'm dealing with, it is your claim that your brother and or his girlfriend took some of your property, didn't give you all your property that you should have had, because they finally said, we've had enough of you and your shenanigans, goodbye.
I did not start leaving the house until that April. I was in the house the whole time with my boys. I've asked them maybe to watch them overnight a couple times, but that's it.
I don't care. They had enough of you. You didn't pay rent. They could say to you, goodbye. We tried to do our best. You took advantage of us. Goodbye. Now, that being said, you stayed with them for how many months and didn't pay them any rent, any utilities? How many months? You and your boys?
4.
Oh, 4 months.
Because I started paying my brother in February.
Paying him what?
Money. I gave him money.
No, I don't want to know who gave him money. Rent. I know that at your age, maybe you think you're too young. Maybe you're too young. They either rent their house, they have a mortgage on their house, they have things that they have to pay.
We did not agree upon a set amount for every month. We did not agree
upon Well, don't you think you should agree on a certain amount every month? You just came into $11,000.
And it was actually way more than 4 months.
You just came into $11,000. You've been living off somebody else's largesse. You just came into $11,000 that I gave you, or they gave you, but you certainly didn't work for. So you say to at least the person who you're staying with, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of $100s a month just to cover my share of the expenses because you're 2 people and we're 3.
I gave him $400 when I got my taxes. As soon as I got it, I gave him money.
Did you pay Carmela for watching the children?
Yes, I did.
$400?
Yes.
Okay. Did she pay you?
Yes.
She says in her complaint that you sold a computer of hers. She says you felt that she owed you more money because you actually watched the children for a longer period of time than the week that she paid you for when she doesn't remember where she was. Did you sell her computer?
I actually gave it away.
No, I don't believe that.
I did. And it's not
Well, why
her
would you
computer.
give it away? That's just spiteful.
Because it was family, and...
What do you mean it was family?
It was family.
I am not your family.
I don't want you to speak. You have no right to give her things away.
It wasn't hers, and I have proof right here.
Whose was it?
Yeah. Who knows? I guess her friends.
That doesn't matter. It was in her possession.
It was in our possession, actually.
It was. She left it with us when she left.
I left it at the house.
No. That you may think is in your possession.
She asked me to sell it for her.
What?
She even asked me to sell it for her.
But it was not
Just
in your
a second.
possession. It was in my room.
Madam.
Yes.
If she asked you to sell it for her, then you don't give it away.
Well,
if she says, sell my computer for me, then you sell it. Then you don't say, I can't sell it, so I'm just going to give it away.
I gave it to one of the kids in the family that I thought could use it way more than her trying to use it to bail out her friend from jail.
That's not...
And she owed me a whole bunch more money.
Who died and left you boss?
Well, me in the house, because it was our house.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You met her in a shelter.
Yes.
How long have you lived in that house that you're currently living in?
August of 2018, to be exact.
Before that, the lease was in my name.
What part of I don't want to hear you? So you moved into his house?
Yes.
Right. So it's not your house.
Well.
It's his house. And since you're not his wife, you're his girlfriend for now, you have no right to sell or give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Oh.
Caption coming up.
You wanted them to sell your TV, jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio has accused her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, of wrongfully selling her belongings. Jordan and Carmela claim Alyssa gave them permission to remove her property.
Now, you have no right to go into somebody else's bag. If they gave you instructions and you accepted those instructions, please sell my computer for me, which is what you just said. Isn't that what she just said?
It is what she just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell my computer for me, and you decided not to sell it, but just to give it to somebody else in the family who could better benefit from it. You got to pay for the computer. Period.
She owed me money.
Period.
I have the evidence.
Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. That's a different story. Carmela, let me tell you something, sir. You look like a very nice guy. You look like a very nice guy. I would unload her as fast as I could.
Oh.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. Because first she says, I gave it away. Let's understand what she says. First she said, I gave it away. Then she said, she told me to sell it, right?
Yes.
Then she said, I gave it to somebody who I thought could use it better than she was using it. Now, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, to go get the 2 pieces of paper that she wants me to review that she owed her money, and then I'm going to go back and explain to your lovely Carmela listen to me, sir,
I'm listening.
who I would think twice about.
Carmela shakes her head. Judy reviews the document.
Well, I don't see anything about a computer here. I see that you wanted them to sell your TV,
yes,
jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh. I didn't see anything about the computer. I see the TV, I see a jacket.
Here, it's right here.
Just a second. It's not in the ones you gave me, but I'm glad you gave that to me because I have some indication that she did, in fact, ask you to start selling stuff because this is the same person that you went to the cities with.
Yes, and...
yes, when you forgot where you were and woke up in a hospital.
Yes.
Judy shakes her head.
Okay, found someone who wants that digital graphic computer. So can you put it in the living room or by my door? So you were going to sell your digital computer.
Yes.
Was it his computer?
It was, but he had given it to me.
So you wanted to sell it?
Yes.
And you say, I'm not giving it to you until you pay me what you owe me for childcare, because you felt as if she should pay you more money because you watched the children longer than a week.
And there's a couple other reasons.
And whatever, and a pair of shoes. I don't care anything about that. You have a bill for the computer?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Alyssa produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
No, I don't like this because the date was changed. The date the order was placed was to April 18th, 2022. So this is not a legitimate, it may be a legitimate price, but it says order placed on April 18th, 2022. You want to take a look at that? Because that's phony. Somebody changed that. No, somebody changed it. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
When did you get it?
I got it in April.
I don't believe this. Take a look.
Judy hands the document to Sarah.
When did he go to jail?
The 25th
of
April.
What?
Of April.
And you left on vacation with him when?
A week before Easter, so I'm not really sure.
A week before Easter, Sarah. Mm-hmm. What's the date?
The week before Easter, the previous Sunday would be the 10th, April 10th.
April 10th. And you were away for a week?
Yes.
And then you don't remember where you were?
No, that was the second week.
That was the second week?
Yes. I was in Colorado for the full week, and I came back the day before Easter, and then I left on Easter Day, and then
And when did you get this computer? You see, that's what I'm asking you. When could you possibly have gotten this computer if the bill...
This is dated the 18th.
Of April.
Which I believe they said was the day she came back.
When could you have possibly gotten it from him?
I ordered it for him. I paid for it, and then he gave it to me.
Listen, I suggest you both get your acts together. You get nothing from your brother. Just consider yourself very, very lucky that he took care of you and that he let you come into his house. I would suggest you not do it again, and maybe she'll get smart. She has 3 children. She'd like to raise them together. She should get a job. Find a way of making a living. Figure it out, because you made 3 children. They have a right to a certain amount of stability.
And they all are stable.
That's not stability.
That is
Get it together. Oh, well, sometimes you can't get through to people. They're that kind of thick, and that's why we are where we are in this country. Do you understand?
Yes,
Think twice. I know you tried to be a good brother.
Yep.
Think twice about doing it again. By the way, does your mother work?
Yes.
And it mentioned something about a father. What kind of work did your father do?
I don't really remember.
He was a logger.
Both your parents work.
Yep.
Good. Evidently, it didn't rub off. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Alyssa, then Carmela and Jordan.
I'm okay with it.
She was a friend, and I love her children. And really, it wasn't about her. It was about them kids.
He won't talk to me because of her.
You need a job. You need to
change.
Something needs to change with her.
I don't really care.
Hopefully she does figure it out. The kids deserve it. He deserves it. He's a good brother.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, that case takes me back to my family court days. Mm-hmm. And I only have one observation other than the fact that I'm what should be society's frustration with this, which is once you have children, you have the responsibility, your sole responsibility is to make sure that your children are taken care of. You have to say, listen, my social life takes a backseat, everything else takes a backseat. But I have 3 little kids, and they are my priority, so I have to do whatever I can to put my life in order. And she clearly has her priorities all messed up.
I agree. I think I can understand and empathize with those women who are parents who can't provide a stable environment for their children and temporarily leave them with a mother, a father, a family member, while they can provide for a stable environment, go get a job, go try and find constant housing. But it blows my mind. I can't empathize with leaving your children with family to take care of and then not doing anything to put yourself in a position to care for them.
In a better place. Yeah. You're right. I don't have to worry.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv and on concert tickets.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2184, Garcia versus Pantene.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Garcia, it is your claim that you purchased some concert tickets through the defendant. You paid him for them.
Correct.
And you didn't get them.
Correct.
He has some story about you going on the wrong day. Okay. How do you know him?
Through a mutual friend.
How long do you know him?
Since September, when this mutual friend actually introduced us, and we engage in this kind of concert ticket purchase.
No, you're getting ahead of yourself. You met him through a mutual friend. How?
We went out to a club.
Who went out to a club?
2 of my girlfriends and LP.
Went with him?
Yes.
Well, then one of your girlfriends knew him. You had not met him before?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an artist.
What kind of an artist?
Produce and sing.
You do that for a living for how long?
For 12 years.
You have family?
No, I'm by myself, yeah.
Who do you live with?
By myself and my dog.
Yourself and your dog?
Yeah, my dog, yeah.
What kind of a dog do you have?
I have a Jack Russell.
Okay. What do you know about securing tickets for concerts, music events? What do you know about it?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand the question.
Well, I know that if you're in the music business, let's say you want to go to a concert.
Okay.
You personally want to go to a concert with a friend.
Yeah.
How do you get the tickets?
It depends. You either purchase the ticket online if you want to pay the full price, or sometimes people have deal for ticket because they have in, and you get the ticket like that, and it's cheaper.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Garcia, exactly how you contacted the defendant and told him that you wanted concert tickets and what you wanted concert tickets to.
So I text LP and I asked him, hey, I heard that you had concert tickets. And he said he did. He's like, oh, I have 2 concert tickets.
2 concert tickets for what?
For the Bad Bunny concert for October 1st.
When I read your complaint and answer, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. So I looked it up and was actually astounded to find out that he is a very uber popular rapper.
So we were very, very excited.
Okay. Did you tell the defendant what you wanted the tickets for?
Yes, I told him I was going to celebrate my birthday, and it was also going to be a gift to my sister, and then my girlfriend, whose birthday is in October.
And
so
when is your birthday?
October 8th.
And did you tell him what date you wanted the tickets for?
He indicated that he had tickets for October 1st.
And he had 2 tickets for October 1st.
He at first had 2 tickets, and then later on said, oh, I have more tickets. And that's how I acquired 2 additional tickets.
Okay, so first he said he had 2 tickets for October 1st. Now, when she called you, you said, oh, I have 2 tickets. That's what she says. Okay. I have 2 tickets. Where did you get those 2 tickets from?
From someone who's close to the artist.
Give me the name.
Oh, his name is Clint.
Last name?
I don't know. I only see him in the club. I get ticket from him all the time.
Clint from what club?
He promotes everywhere, like he goes...
No, you said to me you got them from him at a club. I'm asking you what club?
Well,
Your Honor,
the name.
Actually, he had indicated that those were boxy tickets, and it was the owner of the boxy tickets that he was acquiring those tickets from.
Oh, I never said that.
The 2 tickets?
Oh, no,
yes.
I never said that.
The 2?
Yes.
I never said that. No.
I want you to tell me, when she called you, how come you had 2 tickets for the concert that she wanted to go to? Were you going to go yourself?
The truth is, I always go to stuff like that because I have access to those tickets, again, even if it's for sport or basketball, I always have access to those type of tickets.
So you have access to them?
Yes.
But she said that you told her you had 2 tickets.
When I say access, if I request it, I know where to find it. So when her friend told me that, I said, yes, I can have access to those type of tickets. So maybe my language doesn't help with my grammar.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so
that's
yes,
true. Maybe,
sorry for that.
Maybe it's problematic. It could be a little bit of my hearing, but it's also a little bit of your accent.
Yes, I have an accent.
Sometimes people don't understand my accent because I was born in Brooklyn, and they say to me, "What? We don't understand you." I understand that, but you understand that sometimes people could not.
They misunderstand.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, but she told you she wanted the tickets for October 1st. There's no question she wanted to go on October 1st because she says in her complaint that she also booked a hotel room. Mm-hmm. What hotel?
It was the Sheraton.
Where is the Sheraton located?
It's by LAX.
Where do you live?
Norwalk.
Norwalk is where?
Approximately 15 miles east of LAX, off the 105.
Okay, so you wanted to stay over for the concert?
Yes, so just one correction, that my cousin was the one that paid for the stay.
And the hotel was taken for one night, and was that the night of October 1st?
Yes.
For October 1st, the night of the concert? Mm-hmm.
So all the girls were going to get together that night, have a little pre-celebration. We were going to Uber to the concert. We didn't want to drink and drive. So when we got to the concert, we would get another Uber and then come back. We just wanted to be safe.
When did Mr. Patine tell you that he got extra tickets? First, he said he had 2. Mm-hmm. And did he tell you how much the 2 tickets were?
Yes, he indicated $150 each ticket.
Mm-hmm. How much did you pay for them, sir?
Basically, give the...
Not basically.
Huh?
Not basically.
Sorry,
how much, there's this question.
It was $150.
So you are telling me that you didn't make any money?
No, because I was friends with her friend. So I was just trying to be nice for her birthday. So no, I wasn't making any money on that. I will charge more for those tickets if I want to make money. For the price of it, I will pay way more than that.
Well, so far. Then you got 4 more tickets.
Correct.
But you never saw the tickets.
Correct.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
They were in LA partying with us on the 2nd. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a
got
second.
Bottle
Just a second.
But
I have on video.
I have on video.
I have on video.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia claims club promoter Herman Patine owes her a refund for Bad Bunny concert tickets.
Did you ask the defendant to send you a copy of the tickets?
I did, on September 16th.
On what date?
September 16th.
Do you have an email to that effect?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And just so you know, there were 2 tour dates in Inglewood at the SoFi Stadium for Bad Bunny on both September 30th as well as October 1st.
Do you know how much he made, according to what I read yesterday? In his touring for the whole of the year, I read that his tour concert in 2022 was almost $400 million. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's the number one.
Almost $400 million.
Pretty darn close.
That's what I read. I was astounded. Since I know Frank Sinatra is no longer with us, and there isn't anybody else that I would pay that kind of money to go and see.
Whitney smiles. Judy examines a photocopy of a text exchange between Gigi and Herman.
Okay, so you're in the music business and you have email. Is that right? You have an email? You have an email?
Yes, I have an email.
You have an iPhone?
Yes.
She asked you if you could send her copies of the tickets.
Okay.
Why didn't you send them?
Because I didn't have it at that time. I always was.
Oh, just a second.
Yes.
Because I didn't have them. That was September 16th. On what date did you get them and from whom?
I paid for the ticket on the Monday before the concert. The guy came to pick up the money on Monday night.
When the guy came to pick up the money Monday night before the event, did he give you the tickets?
Not right away, because he never do that. He always send me that after to my wallet on the...
Now I don't understand a word you're saying.
The wallet, when I received the ticket...
You gave him the money. She sent you the money. How much money did she give you?
I was like 1,000.
How much money did you give him?
So the full amount was $1,215.
That's not how much she gave me, by the way.
No.
Just a minute. only suing for $715.
Yeah, so there were two other young ladies that also purchased, and I'm not including them in my case.
So this
just
is
mine, just what I paid.
You paid $715.
Correct.
He got more money for the tickets, but you just paid him $715.
Yeah. So these were for 6 tickets. 5 tickets for $150, 1 ticket for $165.
Okay. How did you communicate with the one person who you gave the tickets to? How did you communicate with that person?
Phone. I called him.
Through the phone?
Yeah, I called him. He called me.
So you have his name on your phone?
Yes.
Have you seen him since October?
He disappeared for a while. After that.
Just a second. He disappeared for a while after you say that you gave him the money.
I was in contact with them and her friend. I gave her the number because I couldn't reach out to him. And
second, that sounds like a lot of who shot John. You were able to reach out to him when you wanted to give him money, allegedly, but then he disappeared.
Basically,
just a second, is he still disappeared?
No, he's still not disappeared. But
well, where is he now?
I don't know. I haven't spoken with him.
Since when?
Since maybe like December.
Why?
Because I have nothing to tell him. She sued me. So
well, just a second.
Yeah.
What did you tell him about the tickets?
He said we made a mistake on the day. It was for Friday, and they went to for Saturday. So on that, he got mixed up, and I get blamed for that. But that's not fair.
Absolutely. She didn't deal with Clint. She dealt with you.
But this is why I give them the number, so they can call him directly. I did that.
But the deal was not with him. It was with you.
You don't have to answer.
Sorry.
But
you don't have to answer.
Actually, they talked to him directly.
She doesn't want to talk to him directly. She didn't deal with...
I wasn't even talking to her.
She didn't deal...
I wasn't talking to her. Her friend was talking to him directly. That's what I said.
Did she get money back from him directly?
I didn't get any money.
Just a second.
No, I'm mad. I'll be blamed for something I do. And even that, I give half of the money back to her because I feel bad about the situation.
Just a second. When did you give her back half the money?
I think 2 weeks after.
Just a second. Did he give you back any money?
He gave us $500 out of 8.
Just a second. I don't care. He gave you back $500 because he felt badly.
And it was her birthday, and they were harassing me.
Did you give her the $500 directly?
No, because I wasn't.
No. Who did you give the $500?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
To a friend?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
Just a second. Your friend only, you said, paid for 2 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 tickets at most could have been $300.
Correct.
Did your friend give you back $200?
She did.
Okay.
So I am requesting the remainder, which is $715. And that's what we had texted him on October 10th. We had asked him to pay the full amount. This is the text where...
I want to see what he said to you.
No, he did not respond to me.
He did not?
Mm-mm.
Can I tell why?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because her friend was starting threatening me, sending crazy message text when we used to be friends, and it could be resolved another way. And when she starts sending me lawyer crazy email, I'm not answering. So I say, do what you got to do, and that's it.
I mean, if you would have responded.
Just a second. So if there was a mix-up, that was a mix-up that was not her mix-up because she clearly made it her business to book a room in order to go to the October 1st concert. So that was clear. It wasn't just going to the concert. It was going to be a whole evening. What do you want, and who are you?
I'm a witness to it all.
And he speaks better than me, so this is why I would like him to come, so that it might be easier for me.
Your Honor, my name's Imad. How are you? She said she booked a hotel for the 1st, but they were in LA partying with us on the 2nd because we all met up at his house. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a second. Just a second.
But it wasn't from him.
I have him on video.
I have on video because that's what we do.
Feel bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak. Sorry.
We have on video of them all partying with us on the 2nd. So they only.
So on the 2nd, by this time you knew you weren't going to the concert.
Yeah, I was expecting my money that night.
What?
I was expecting my money. Like, there was a mix-up. Okay, now where's our money? So we met up. They told me, hey, you know what? LP feels really bad. There was a mistake. I'm like, okay, cool. But where's my money? Because I got to pay my cousin, my sister. I got to pay my friends. I have that responsibility. They entrusted me with money, and therefore I had that responsibility. They're not going to come after him.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
The tickets were for Friday night, sir. And you say you went there on Friday night.
No, you get confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. Stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia is accusing club promoter Herman Petit of purchasing Bad Bunny concert tickets for the wrong day.
Where is Clint? Speak. Where is Clint? I thought you were a witness to everything.
I met him when he was giving him the money. We were at his house
Just a
having
second.
drinks.
Okay, so let's slow down a second, because you said I'm a witness to everything and I speak better than he does.
Yeah, sometimes.
So the Monday before the concert.
Correct.
You were with Clint.
I was with LP. I was with him. We were at his apartment watching Monday Night Football.
And Clint was there.
No, he called him, and then he asked me to come down with him. We went downstairs, and I never met the guy, and he gave him some money.
No, just a second.
Yeah.
So you were with him.
Yeah.
When he went downstairs and met Clint.
Correct.
Okay. And when he handed Clint the money, how much money did he hand him?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't
that
really
close.
I was next to him, but I was on my phone, and I asked him after the fact. I was like,
what did he? Let's go back. So now you're upstairs watching Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And does he get a call from Clint, or does he call Clint?
He was calling him earlier.
Okay, so he was calling Clint earlier.
Yeah.
And when he went down and gave him the money, did Clint give him anything?
No, he did not.
Well, then what was the discussion that he had?
From what I heard was he...
Don't make it up as you're going along.
No.
Don't make it up. It's very bad. It's very bad if you make things up.
No.
Okay, so if you either heard it or you didn't.
He gave him the money, and I guess it was for the tickets, because he was telling me earlier that he was getting somebody's tickets. And I'm like, I've never met her before or her friends until the night of when we all went to the club, because I was at his house. Yeah. We were drinking, her friends came over and everything that we're supposed to go.
And it was at that time, was that the time that he gave them back $500?
No, I don't know about that.
When did you give them back $500?
I think 2 weeks after, I can check if you want to tell the exact date. But I think 2 weeks after, and again, I did that out of my kindness. I don't want to give anything because that's not my fault. But I'm like, I feel bad. They were on me. I'm like, you know what? Here's something. Here's a gesture. That's what I can do. And even that, I was even willing to work with them. And I told her.
Yeah, I don't think it was their mistake, by the way.
Huh?
I don't think it was their mistake. They were girls going out to celebrate. They had planned a whole evening and day of going out to celebrate. They got to the concert. You weren't there on the first, because it's your claim that they got the date confused, that they were supposed to go Friday night, the 30th. That's what you say. You were there Friday night.
We're there.
Well, if the tickets were for Friday night, sir, which is what you claim, and you say you went there on Friday night.
Went where?
To the concert, to give them the tickets.
No, you get confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? You have to. I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. How are they supposed? Hey, stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You hadn't sent them the tickets on the day of the concert. According to your answer, sir, on the day of the concert, which was on September 30th, which would have been what was on the tickets, I waited for Gigi and her friends, but they never showed up. Pay attention to me. So if you went there on Friday to give them the tickets, that's what you say.
I'm talking about my house. Show how.
I'm reading to you what you swore to and what you signed in an answer. You say you're in a business for 12 years.
But I don't have people work for me.
Listen to me. Then you should have shown them your answer. What you said in your answer was...
Okay, my bad. Mistake for that.
Not my bad. On the day of the concert, I waited for Gigi and her friends to come and get their tickets, but they never showed up. The next day, I finally got on the phone with Gigi. Now, did she call you or did you call her?
I called her friend in the morning at like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a mistake. I called her friend.
Okay, so you called her friend. Now, if you got there and they weren't there, you had her friend's. You had her friend's number, right?
It's not that.
You said I have.
It's not. That's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, I just read you what you.
No, but I try to explain you. I wasn't at the concert visit, even on the Saturday, for the ticket.
How was she supposed to get the ticket?
She come to my house, and that's it.
Okay, $715, judgment for the plaintiff. I think you're full of baloney.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Gigi, then Herman.
I thought that was really fair. I mean, when you enter a verbal contract with someone, you expect them to uphold their side of the deal. If they don't, then they have to give you your money back.
That's her problem, not mine. And I give something just out of fact by kindness, she would just take that. Asia wasn't the bad person on that.
That same night, he had indicated that he felt really bad, yada, yada, yada. And we thought, hey, it's legit, we're gonna get our money back that night. And he's like, oh, let's meet up at this club or at this, it was a restaurant, then club. And it was.
I wouldn't be partying with somebody that just screwed me out of tickets.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense. It's like if somebody screws you out of money, you gonna go party with them? Highly doubtful.
It doesn't matter. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal was concert tickets for this amount of money. No concert tickets, I get my money back. Plain and simple.
It's over. For a favor for friends, yeah?
Judy and Sarah.
So we're having this discussion, you and I interpreted that sentence as he waited for them at the concert to give him the tickets. You point out that that sentence could also be interpreted, I waited at my house for them to come and pick up the tickets. Either way, Sarah, the right thing to do is if you've got $1,000 of somebody's money, because there's no question that this guy took a vig for himself, and if they don't come, and if your friend is a friend of hers, then you call at 5 o'clock at night and say, you know, I have your tickets here. Yeah. Where are you? He doesn't. The next day, he calls his friend and says, you got the dates mixed up. Yeah. Instead of calling at 4 o'clock. So either way, to me, it doesn't make any difference.
I agree with your final ruling. If he was sitting on the $1,000 that he had and tickets that he knew were for the wrong day, the friend deserved to call that day in the morning. Or maybe he didn't have any. Or maybe he didn't have any tickets. I'm not disagreeing. I just think that one point you hung your hat on about either being at the concert or being at home was sort of a minuscule point if he didn't have the tickets at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he had the tickets at all.
I agree.
If he did have the tickets, one way or another, he would have called their mutual friend and said, you know, I have these tickets here. They're $1,000. They're $1,000 worth of tickets. It's a good excuse to say they wanted to come for them on a wrong date. Yeah, hustle.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.Danielle Lancaster for damages resulting from a dog attack.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2002, Kwan versus Lancaster.
Mr. Kwan, succinctly, your case involves an attack of a dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster. She was a dog walker. She didn't own the dog.
Correct.
Dog got away from her, and according to you, attacked your dog, and you want to be compensated to the tune of $10,000.
Correct.
You were neither hospitalized, correct?
I was not hospitalized.
You were neither hospitalized, and your dog was not hospitalized.
Correct.
I assume that you have some medical evidence as a result of this incident to show me that you suffered from a dog bite.
Yes.
Okay. And the dog bite was from the dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster.
Walked is, I'm not sure if I would use the term.
She's a dog walker.
Yes,
she's
but it was off
walker.
leash.
She's not the owner of the dog.
Correct.
The incident happened at what date and time?
December 22nd, 2021 at approximately 1:30 p.m.
And you were walking your dog, which is what breed?
A 20-pound wiener dog mix.
And you were a dog walker. How long had you been in charge of walking this dog?
At that point, it was about a week.
What kind of dog was it?
I believe it was a boxer mix. Not 100% sure.
How old?
2, 3 years old, give or take.
Who are the owners of the dog?
The owners, I can't remember their name. One of Mike, but I don't remember their last names. But
you remember the owners' names?
Yes.
And it would be fair to say that you knew their names because you tried to sue them.
I contacted them, yes, but did not sue them.
And you contacted them because they're the owners of the dog and they have a house. Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yes.
And the house usually has homeowners insurance.
Correct.
Correct? And after contacting them, and it's their dog, so they are ultimately responsible for their dog, you opted not to seek compensation for your alleged injuries and this attack, but to sue the dog walker.
Correct.
Just for my own information, Mr. Kwan, do you want to tell me why you did that?
Yeah. So per California strict liability law, anybody who takes physical ownership or responsibility for a dog is also responsible for any sort of attacks or damages it causes while they are responsible for that dog. Regardless
okay, just a second. So what you're saying is in the state of California, if you are walking a dog, and she says she was walking this dog for a week, how many times a day, every day?
2 times a day.
Twice a day. And she had this job for a week. that under all circumstances, she is responsible for any injury that the dog does. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And what code is that?
I have a statute over here.
Just tell me the statute.
Per California dog bite law. I don't have the number, but I can bring it up to the,
Would you bring it up?
the court.
It's California Civil Code 3342.
Do you have it?
I could pull it up. I have my notes.
Could you pull it up for me? And I'll come back to you in a second, Sarah. I'm just curious about it. Okay, now let's tell me about the incident, sir.
Sure. So at the time that I described earlier, I was walking my 20-pound wiener dog Mix while my mother walked my infant son, who was 3 months at the time, in a stroller.
Care.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that I don't care about him and I don't care about your mother, but they have nothing to do with this case.
Well, they do have something to do with this case because when we turned onto the block, I turned and I saw an off-leash dog roughly 3 times the size of mine. And I saw the defendant, Ms. Lancaster. She gave no warning that the dog was off leash. And at that point, I later learned that the dog...
No, don't tell me, just tell me what happened, sir.
Okay.
You saw Miss Lancaster and she was walking this dog off leash.
Correct.
And?
She gave no indication?
No, not that she gave me no indication.
Okay.
She was walking this dog off leash.
Correct.
So you saw the dog off leash.
Yes.
Okay.
And
about how far were you from her when you saw the dog off leash?
Across the street, so roughly 40 feet.
Okay, and?
The dog charged across the street.
Okay, the dog ran across the street.
Yes, and started aggressively biting, lunging, and barking at my dog.
Okay, so at that point, the dog ran across the street and is in an aggressive stance barking at your dog.
Correct.
Hadn't touched your dog.
Correct.
Okay, what happened next?
It then diverted its attention towards my infant son in a stroller and my mother and started jumping on the stroller.
Did the dog, in fact, jump on the stroller?
Yes.
And?
And my response was to try to divert the attention.
What did you do? The dog jumped on the stroller.
Yes.
Didn't hurt your son, didn't hurt your mother.
Yes. So I got the attention of the dog again.
How did you do that?
By picking up my dog, who was on leash.
Well, that doesn't necessarily get attention of the dog. You say, hey!
Correct. Correct.
But you didn't say that. You just picked up your dog.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Probably exclaimed in order to get the attention of the dog.
You told me what you did. You picked up your dog and?
And started running across the street.
Started running across the street in the direction of where the dog had come from?
Correct.
And at that time, the dog was on the other side of the street.
Yes.
So let me understand this. You pick up your dog. Your mother is standing behind you in the stroller with your son. You leave your mother, your son, on one side of the street, and you grab your wiener dog Mix and run across the street.
Correct. This was after I got the attention of the dog, by the way.
Okay. So now you got the attention of the dog.
Yes.
Ran across the street, so you were trying to divert the dog's attention, and the dog followed you.
Yes, it chased me.
Good. And you were running in her direction?
No. The Miss Lancaster had crossed the street at that point to where we were originally walking.
She was on your side of the street. You were going back to where you had initially seen her.
Correct.
Okay, so she had followed her dog across the street.
Yes.
Was she saying anything?
We made repeated pleas to ask for her to control the situation.
She ran across the street, because all this happened within seconds.
Yes.
She ran across the street. Was she saying anything to the dog?
She was yelling, "I'm so sorry, and I can't do anything."
Okay, is that what you were yelling?
I think I was yelling, "I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do," because I was in an extreme state of panic. I was probably having a panic attack.
I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do. Okay, and?
And after I ran across the street, when the dog chased me, I fell down. The dog ended up biting me on my left arm.
Okay, and I'd like to see whatever medical report you have from the bite on your left arm.
So the doctor said that...
No, don't tell me what the doctor said.
I have a picture.
May I see
Absolutely.
A medical... Did you understand my words? I said, may I see a medical report
I do not
from
have a
doctor.
medical report.
So you didn't go to the doctor. The question is, did you go to the doctor, Mr.
I did
Kwan?
a virtual doctor's visit because this was during the height of the pandemic.
And what was the name of the doctor with whom you had a virtual visit?
I do not remember.
Should remember. You're suing for $10,000. You should have all that information. Because if you have a virtual medical visit, Mr. Kwan, there is a record of that. Doctor keeps a record of that. Do you understand?
Correct.
Okay. so now you're down, and this happened, according to you, on December 22nd. Did you get the dog's information?
I did.
On December 22nd?
Yes.
When did you speak to the owners of the dog?
I spoke to the owners actually that day because I wanted to get the rabies vaccination paperwork.
Did you get the rabies vaccination paperwork?
Yes.
On the 22nd?
Yes.
Now I'll see your photograph, sir.
I have that statute whenever you're ready.
I got it. Timing is everything.
Sarah grins at Judge Judy. Kevin hands Judy a photo of a leg with contusions on it. She dons her glasses, then examines it.
Okay, so the knee injury is when you fell.
Correct.
And the arm is a combination scratch and maybe tooth mark.
Yes, there are tooth marks on there, but not punctured.
I don't know. This long thing is not a tooth mark. So just one other question, Mr. Kwan. When you told the owners about this on the 22nd, when was the next time you contacted them? First, you wanted to find out whether or not the dog had received rabies shots. You were satisfied that it did, that you didn't have to see a doctor other than a virtual visit with a doctor whose name you don't remember. When did you decide not to sue the owners of the dog, who are homeowners, and who have homeowners insurance?
Yep, I wrote the owners of the dog a demand letter, and that is when I contacted them back, probably about 2 months after the incident.
Okay, so you wrote them a demand letter?
Correct.
And did they respond to your demand letter?
Yes.
Do you have copies of those letters?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see copies of your letter and their response.
Derek hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
That's the demand letter that I
just want to see copies of your letter and their response. Are they both here?
They did. They responded by calling me on the phone, not with a formal written statement.
Really?
Caption coming up.
Through a series of conversations, I decided that my grievance was not towards them because they were not exhibiting negligence in this situation.
Oh, no, I don't believe that, Mr. Kwan. Be very careful about what you say to me, sir.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Derek and Danielle.
Derek Kwan claims dog walker Danielle Lancaster owes for injuries resulting from a dog attack.
Okay. Well, you say the dog's a pit bull. The dog was a pit bull?
I believe so.
Dog a pit bull?
I asked after the incident. I did ask as well if it was a pit bull. They said no, it's a boxer mix.
You have a video of the incident. You have a video. Somebody has a video.
Yeah.
Correct.
Someone's Ring camera.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to tell me what the owner said in the conversation that they had with you. I'm not accepting it for the truth of the statement, only that you had a conversation with them, which is why you brought this action against Miss Lancaster today.
Correct.
So they decided, we're not going to put this in writing, we're going to call Mr. Kwan.
Correct.
And what did they tell you?
They were very amicable about the situation, and we're trying to solve the situation to make me whole.
Being amicable is subjective. I want you to tell me what you said to them and what they said to you.
What they said to me was that they would look into their homeowner's insurance policy in order to compensate me. Through a series of conversations, I decided that my grievance was not towards them because they were not exhibiting negligence in this situation.
Oh, no, I don't believe that, Mr. Kwan. Be very careful about what you say to me, sir. As between homeowners who have insurance and this young woman who has to walk dogs for a living, if I was somebody interested in $17,000, I wouldn't sue her. I would sue somebody who had, Kathy Bates said in one of my favorite movies, I'm older and I have more insurance. So that answer that you just gave me was a whole lot of, who shot John? The reason you decided not to proceed against the dog's owners is what?
The reason why I proceeded not to go against the dog's owners is because I have because some things are more important than money. And in this situation, I have more of an issue with the dog walker and her behavior during this situation rather than being compensated.
Well, let me suggest this to you, Mr. Kwan. There is no question that if Miss Lancaster was walking this dog and the dog was off leash, she was negligent. There's also no question in my mind that the extent of your damages is excessive, very excessive. So,
but we're only counting physical damages.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is the amount of your damages is excessive. And if you wanted anywhere near that money, you could have sued both people. You could have sued the owner of the dog as not only did they have the dog that attacked you, but they have, as Kathy Bates would say, insurance. And you would join the defendant as a party to that action. You would say you're all responsible. You own the dog, which you say was a pit bull, which you say was a pit bull, who just mauled and killed somebody in New York last week. An owner. You didn't do that, so I'm not getting all of this kumbaya business that the person responsible. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I'm just not buying it, Mr. Kwan. We understand each other?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. For somebody who has no medical, you had injuries, and you have to be compensated. You had no good excuse for walking the dog off leash.
I wasn't walking him off leash. When I was in the house happened, I had a key on the other side of the door. When I reached for that key, he scooted as hard as I could between my legs and got out. It wasn't that I was walking him and just decided to take him off the leash.
So you were negligent in letting the dog out?
Unfortunately, yeah. Yes.
But the dog had also been out for an hour at the time of the incident.
Yeah, because when I was trying to get him back in, but many attempts, he was very hard to get in, and at that point, I was already having a panic attack, very emotional.
No.
Okay.
Now, Miss Lancaster, let's get it together. Let's get it together. Mr. Kwan says that the dog was out for a period of time, and you weren't chasing the dog when he first saw you. You were in a walking mode. So the dog may have initially gotten out. Miss Lancaster, don't. You know, I'm an ecumenical abuser. Were you out with the dog for a period of time?
Yes.
Did you have a leash in your hand?
I think
is not an answer. Did you have a leash in your hand?
No.
How long were you out with the dog?
Probably around an hour at that point.
Okay.
I was trying to get him back in, and twice I did have him by the collar, and he wasn't having it.
You didn't have him by the collar when he ran across the street?
No, but before then I did.
I don't care what happened before then.
Okay.
Before then, I was 21 years old, and I looked great in a bikini. Now, not so much. All right, Mr. Kwan, this letter was written to Miss Lancaster.
Correct.
I asked you for the letter that you wrote to the owners of the dog.
I do not have that with me right now.
Could we key up this video that I understand we have?
Video footage appears of a dog chasing Derek. The dog attacks him. He falls.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You can see my mother and infant son fleeing.
I am so sorry.
Call the person out. He bit me.
I know I will because he bit me too. I know.
Just grab him by the neck.
I can't. He bit me twice on my hand already. I don't know what to do. It's been an hour. I seriously don't know what to do. He bit me twice already. And I tried to get him on the leash, and he bit me twice. I don't know what to do. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Can I see the beginning of that and see if you can freeze frame on the dog, please? By the way, you do have a leash in your hand.
Yeah, I just realized. Yeah, I do have the leash actually. So
I'm going to walk over to the monitor.
Judy rises from the bench and approaches the video monitor. She examines the freeze frame of the dog, then returns to the bench.
So although the statute uses the word owner, there's vicarious liability if someone else assumed responsibility of the dog, even though the statute is clear, it only lists the word owner. But in California, they could be held liable through vicarious liability, a walker.
A walker.
That assumed responsibility for the animal.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
He neither suffered serious physical injury, certainly not serious enough for him not to go to work for a week, unless you model Bermuda shorts. You don't model Bermuda shorts, do you, Mr. Kwan?
Just in my spare time.
Of course not.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Derek and Danielle.
Derek Kwan says dog walker Danielle Lancaster owes for damages after he was attacked by the dog Danielle was walking.
Okay, so, Miss Lancaster, it does appear to me that you were sort of overwhelmed by this dog.
yes,
But
very much.
bottom line is that Mr. Kwan was injured and frightened, not seriously injured, but seriously enough that if it were me, I would be furious as a result of your negligence. And he neither suffered serious physical injury, certainly not serious enough for him not to go to work for a week. I don't know what kind of work you do, but not serious enough unless you, I don't know, unless you model Bermuda shorts. You don't model Bermuda shorts, do you, Mr. Kwan?
Just in my spare time.
Of course not. And you had no medical bills because you didn't see a doctor, but you were attacked. And I actually don't know why you didn't sue the owners of this dog, which looks scarcely like any boxer I've ever seen. And it is possible in California that certain dogs are not insurable. I don't know the answer to that question. It will not insure you in a homeowner's policy if you have a certain kind of dog. Are you familiar with that, sir?
Yes.
What are you familiar with? You're very familiar with statutes. So what is the law in California with regard to insurance? Can you be denied insurance or have to pay an excess premium if you have a dog that is either a pit bull or a pit bull mix?
I believe so.
You believe so. And would it be a fair statement, sir, that their homeowners either covered their dog or didn't?
They were looking into it, and they had renter's insurance that I believe covered it.
That you believe covered it? Oh, very foolish of you not to go against them. Okay. If you accept responsibility for a dog, you're supposed to be smart enough to look at a dog and say, you know what, why would you ask what kind of dog this is? Now, you let the dog out, and the dog was out with you for an hour.
Yes, yeah.
And during that time, you were walking around the neighborhood, and you had sufficient opportunity. You were walking around the neighborhood.
I wouldn't say walking. I was
What were you doing?
clearly trying to get the dog back in, and twice I did have him by the collar, and that's what I said in the video. I had him by the collar, and then both times he turned to nip at me on my wrist, so which is why I let go, because I didn't want to get bit.
I know, you said it.
So I was trying to have him follow me, which is what the owners told me to do. I had treats in my hand.
So you called the owners?
Yes, I did call the...
You said you called the owners, and you told the owners what was going on?
Yes, I did. They knew what was going on.
I would have sued the owners. Mr. Kwan, I would have absolutely sued the owners, unless they didn't have insurance that covered the dog, which is a problem for them if they had renter's insurance. In any event, Miss Lancaster, you assumed responsibility of this dog, and based upon your own negligence, forget about the dog's breed, forget about these other people. As a result of your negligence, he was injured, and you have to compensate him for that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Danielle, then Derek.
I don't think he even got bit.
The doctor said that most of my injuries were emotional, but I did receive a bite from the dog onto my arm, but not a puncture wound.
I think he just, wanted some extra cash from me because I was probably an easier target.
Even though I didn't have any physical injuries, who knows how long my night terrors will last for.
I was literally having the whole panic attack, which is why, I had the reaction I did.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but the dog was off leash for an hour. She could have called the police or animal control during that time.
Don't open the door even in the slightest to a dog. Just wait till, they're away and gone.
Mostly my MO is getting back at those that I have grievances against.
Judy and Sarah.
Let's not even get started with dog breed, because I think the world knows where I live in that street. Mm-hmm. And 10 days ago, a woman who was watching a pit bull for one of her children, 64-year-old woman, her husband came home from work and found the dog eating her in the backyard. Sadly, she died. And there are certain breeds that are more dangerous than others. People have to recognize that. And if you choose to get a dog that is potentially more dangerous, Sarah, and I know that there are pit bull lovers out there and say, mine is the sweetest, mine is the loveliest, but then you have to accept responsibility if there's an issue. And clearly this dog was an issue because I believe this young woman. Mm-hmm. Didn't you believe her?
I believed her, and I think that dog walkers should also be cautious of what animals they're choosing to walk, because she could be held vicariously liable. So you might want to stick to 5-pound chihuahuas from now on, maybe.
Right. I mean, she was visibly very
distressed.
Upset. Visibly, and she said on the video, he bit me twice on the hand because she tried to get a hold of him. But she was still out with the dog for an hour. But he was, in fact, injured. Mm-hmm. And whether he went to the hospital or not, that's pretty traumatic.
Yeah, I don't think you can level it down to actual damages from a bill, but there's some component of punitive damages as well for the pain and suffering and trauma from an event like that.
That's true. But forget falling down and being attacked by a dog. Our family would feel as if, you've got a splinter in your hand as a result of somebody's negligence, or a nail that went into your foot as a result of somebody being careless. Is very frightening. Anyway, people have to use their noodle and your noodle is up here.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
Credits. Audio description.
Working as a homemaid.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge.
How are you, Kevin?
Good, good. Case 2168, Gallen versus Webster.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge Judy turns to Tracy.
Miss Gallen, you are a home health aide.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to any particular school or have any training to be a home health aide?
Well, I went to CNA nursing school, so I'm
CNA? What is that?
Certified nursing assistant.
And you've been doing that for over a decade?
Correct.
Do you need any license in the state where you're from in order to be a CNA?
CNA, yes. Caregiver, no.
But you have a license from CNA?
Yes, ma'am, and also have a license for a medical assistant.
Now, there came a time when you answered some sort of an ad by Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster had a mother who was ill and needed some assistance in caring for her. Are you a working man, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a caterer and a DJ, and also a driver.
Do you get any salary from any of those jobs?
It ranges from job to job.
Usually, how much?
For DJing, a couple hundred.
Couple hundred for how many hours?
It's basically about the job, the location, things of that nature. So it can vary.
Caterer.
Catering, we're building a family business, so basically getting started with it. Probably made as much as $1,800 before for a catering event. So again, it was brand new prior to the pandemic.
Okay, and what's your steadiest source of income?
Driving as of now.
How much do you make approximately an hour driving?
Now, probably $22 with the subtractions for
$22 an hour?
Yes.
Is that with or without your tips?
That's with tips.
Did you always live with your mother?
I lived with her for quite some time.
Say within the last 10 years.
Within the last 10 years, I moved out 3.5 years ago. Due to illness, I was staying with her, so I was not really able to work. During that time, I went to school to become a caterer, cook, etc., culinary school, business school, because I did have aspirations to open a restaurant eventually, or a catering business eventually.
So you didn't live with your mother for the last 3.5 years?
No, Your Honor.
What kind of illness did she have?
My mother was diagnosed initially with COPD. I forgot exactly what those words are, but it's a pulmonary, it's with her
I know
breathing.
it's COPD, it's a pulmonary disease.
You're better than me. Then there's also emphysema, along with some other things that I was not made aware of until she passed away.
How old was she?
68 years old.
A kid?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long was she bedridden? From when to when?
November 23rd until her death date of April 30th.
So all the time that the plaintiff took care of her, she was bedridden?
Yes, Your Honor.
And was your mother pretty strong-willed?
Yes, very much so, Your Honor.
And the COPD and emphysema was in all probability, at least in part, if not in all, attributed to her smoking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, according to your complaint, Ms. Gallion, you worked for Mr. Webster in taking care of his mother, with whom he didn't live. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anyone else live with her?
My son lived with her.
How old is he?
He's 29 years old now.
What does he do?
He was working at the time for Tesla.
He was, but he's no longer.
No longer.
But at this time, he was working for Tesla?
He was working for Tesla.
The whole time?
Yes, Your Honor. The whole time from being released from the hospital up until her death day, yes, Your Honor.
Now, the house belonged to your mother?
Via rent, but yes, Your Honor.
She rented it?
Yes, Your Honor.
She was a rentor?
Yes, Your Honor.
So her grandson just stayed there with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
So he slept there, and you were supposed to come during the day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Saturday.
Okay. Now, do you have the ad that you got from the defendant?
I do.
May I see it, Kevin, please?
Kevin collects a document from Tracy, then brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Thank you.
I also have the messages, Your Honor, from that ad.
Let me just read this. Okay, so you were asking for somebody good to take care of your mother because she was a great caretaker all of her life.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very nice.
All of my life.
All of your life.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in it, he says IHSS for now. Would you explain what that is?
It's in-home supportive services.
From the federal government or the state?
From the state, if I'm not mistaken.
And you are from the state of?
California.
Well, this is what he wrote. So when you spoke to him with the same parameters of your employment as contained in his ad, that you would be working for IHSS for now, maybe more in the future. I don't know what that means. I assume it means that if it works out, you'd be paying her in addition to what she was making with IHSS.
No, Your Honor, I don't.
What does it mean? IHSS for now.
Yes.
Maybe more. What does that maybe more mean?
I honestly can't recollect what that meant. I am aware that I did send that text message or that Facebook post.
Is there anything in any of the text messages you have that indicates what maybe more is?
Yeah, just verbally, he stated out of his mouth that anything extra, him and his son would pay out of pocket.
Okay, extra like what?
Extra hours, if the hours that I agreed to work to, if it needed to be extended, my traveling time, my toll from where I was driving from, he was supposed to
reimburse you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Now, you started working when?
February 24th was my first day.
From February 24th until April what?
23rd.
And that was 6 days a week?
It varied because depending on my schedule, so every other week I will work Monday through Friday, and then the additional weeks I'll work Monday through Saturday.
So it's between 5 and 6 days a week. And how many hours a day were you working?
5.
So when you came into work, was the grandson still there?
Sometimes he was, sometimes he wasn't.
And if he wasn't, Miss Webster was alone?
Correct.
And when you left, was she alone?
Yes, ma'am.
And then hopefully the son came back to assist her at night.
From my understanding, there was another caregiver that was supposed to be there at nighttime, which I never saw, so I'm not sure.
Did you have another caregiver there at night?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who was that?
Her name was...
How long was she there?
You mean her work time or her duration of employment?
Duration of employment.
The same time that Tracy started.
Did she get paid?
I'm not aware of
Just a second. Did you fill out papers for...
Your Honor...
That's as it...
No.
If you didn't fill out papers for her, then either she was working for nothing or she got paid from you directly. Before you answer me, you had a nighttime person who was hired at the same time the plaintiff was. Either she was paid from an agency, or she was paid from you, or she did it gratuitously. What was it?
Caption, coming up.
Had your son ever applied to be caregiver for your mother? Think carefully before you answer that question, because this one knows all. Had your son ever applied to be your mother's caregiver?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Oh, makes it so easy.
Whitney grins. The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tracy and Ronald.
Tracy Gallen claims her client, Ronald Webster, owes for unpaid wages.
Now, the agency, was she paid from an agency?
Yes.
Don't say yes if she was not. If she was not paid by the agency because she didn't get paid, then say she never got any money from the agency. And if you never filled out any paperwork, she couldn't have gotten paid by the agency.
Correct. Well,
why don't you just...
Let me rephrase that, because this is where the trepidation comes along. Neither of the caregivers were properly inputted into in-home supportive care system. So there's an allotment that is allowed where caregivers can work in hopes of having a large lump sum payment once they get their paperwork, background check, and everything else taken care of. So up until the 29th, no one had gotten paid because no one had their paperwork taken care of yet. So it's on the 29th when that starts to come about. So I personally never signed any paperwork for neither of the caregivers.
It's not true, Your Honor.
Just a second. That's what he's saying. Okay. So he signed no paperwork. And she worked for you from February to March, March to April, for 2 months. How much did you pay her in the 2 months that she worked there?
Out of my pocket, I paid her $110 with a caveat. It was the first time that she worked on a Saturday. I asked her to do so because I had...
Just tell me how much you paid her.
$110.
Anything else?
Because I had a calendar DJing event. I was not fielding anything up until that point.
Mr. Webster.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You seem like a nice man. It's going to cost you money. You can either make it easy or make it hard. From February to April, did your son work?
Yes, Your Honor. He worked at Tesla.
Then I'm not finished with you with that. Your son worked for Tesla. I assume Tesla paid him.
I'm assuming he got paid too, Your Honor.
And when you worked as a caterer, I assume you got paid.
I was not working as a caterer during that time, Your Honor.
Were you working as a driver during that time?
I did work as a driver during that time, Your Honor.
Did you get paid?
Yes, Your Honor.
Prior to the plaintiff getting hired and this other woman, had your son ever applied to be caregiver for your mother? Think carefully before you answer that question. think very carefully, because this one knows all. Had your son ever applied to be your mother's caregiver?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Oh, makes it so easy.
Whitney grins.
And when did he apply to be your mother's caregiver?
According to the information I have, which I was just made aware of.
Just a second.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a lot of... Your son is in your mother's house.
Yes.
You're there all the time because you're interested in your mother. You are the next of kin. You have to sign off. Did your son sign up to be your mother's caregiver, and when? Give me the month, day, and year that he signed up.
According to the paperwork I have, I'd have to look at it because I don't...
Look at it. You can look at it, digest it. Give me the date.
Ronald consults a document.
See, Sarah, it's what's on paper doesn't always make sense, right?
Yeah.
You know?
You figure it out along the way.
Follow the money.
Yeah, always.
Always got to follow the money.
Leads you right to where you want to be.
Let's go.
According to the paperwork I have here, his paperwork was started on August of 2021.
When was it signed?
It does not state that.
And she started working in February. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So between August and February, Mr. Webster, who took care of your mother?
My son lived with her. He's, according to this, I was not privy to this information before.
Let me understand something.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is not a House Select Committee investigation, sir. This is just a court where I'm trying to figure out who took care of your mother, who was unable to take care of herself from August until February when you got another caregiver, and whether that person was signed up to get in-home health benefits. So the answer is, partially I know that your son, who lives with her rent-free...
No. I'm sorry, not with my mother, not rent-free.
Lives with her.
Yes.
Maybe not, then maybe Kevin and I are paying the rent. You never can tell. I don't know how much, and I can't ask you how much money your son made between August and February, but maybe she got a little too difficult for him to deal with, because at the end stages of being sick that way, you require a lot more help than you want your grandson to take care of. And so you needed somebody else. Now, I've just about, Mr. Webster, reached the end of creating the picture in this case, but the plaintiff was there, and so far you've given her $100 in 2 months. You got paid during that time period. Your son, who worked for Tesla, got paid during that time period. You can bet your bottom booty that I got paid during that period because I worked. Nobody said to me, well, you didn't get your form in right there. We're not paying you. Really, you're not paying me. You can find me today getting my pedicure. She stayed, even though she didn't get paid. Now, if she didn't work for you, could you or your son have gone out to do their other work? Or would you have left your mother alone? What would you have done?
Possibly made other arrangements, Your Honor.
Possibly. You mean get another sucker to work for free? You think that she should work for free? You think that she should work for free?
No, Your Honor, but I don't think she should smoke cigarettes with my mother alone.
Listen, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is stupid.
Okay.
Your counterclaim is stupid. You just told me before your mother is the kind of woman that would do exactly what she wants to do. And what you think yourself, since you're not there and off doing your thing, somebody who's terminally ill, not getting better. You knew that, right?
I did know that.
You did know that. And if your mother chose an easier way to go than the one you selected for her, that would have been her prerogative. That's also a fair statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you didn't like the caring that she did for your mother, but actually her leaving had to do with your not paying her. You didn't fire her. Okay, let's put it this way. Did you fire her?
No, Your Honor, because I did not have the power to do so.
You did not fire her.
No, Your Honor.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Who is Ron Webster?
I am Ron Webster.
You hired her.
No, Your Honor.
Well, this is you. Need a good caregiver for my mom. Need. That means I need.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, let's go to one other place, okay? And then I'll let you talk. Right now, it doesn't seem to be that you're losing, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tracy grins. Caption, coming up.
In March, Miss Gallen, where's my money? You know, I'm taking care of your mom. There's no money. What does he say?
He kept blaming it on IHS. He needed to talk to them, and IHS just kept responding to me and was just like, he's crazy.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tracy and Ronald.
Tracy Gallen is accusing her client, Ronald Webster, of refusing to pay her after caring for his mother. Ronald claims Tracy smoked cigarettes and marijuana while working.
How much do you think the time that she worked there, taking care of your mother, was worth?
Your Honor, I personally cannot put a price on that. I know she's contracted through IHSS for $16 per hour.
Did your mother have a life insurance policy?
My mother had a couple of life insurance policies, yes.
What were they, and who were the beneficiaries?
I was the beneficiary
of
both
one.
of them.
How much?
The total was $3,700, Your Honor.
Did she have a separate policy for her burial?
No, Your Honor.
Did she own any property anywhere?
No, Your Honor.
So what was the total you received from the estate?
The policies was set to pay $1,300, which I have not received all.
You mean in addition to the $3,700, you'll receive another $1,300?
$13,000 is what I meant to say. If I said $1,300, I misspoke. $13,000.
$13,000.
Total. Okay.
How much did you pay for the internment, the service, if there was one, whatever? How much did you pay? You paid for it, I assume, out of this money.
I have not done all the math. It's upwards of $15,000 or so, as I'm still.
You haven't done all the math.
I'm still making payments.
How much are you owed?
I have it there, 26. The whole breakdown is.
And
the amount was $29.12 minus the $300.
You say he gave you $300, not $140.
Correct.
Okay.
He cashed at me $300.
My question is that at $16 an hour?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is what you would have made?
Correct.
Do you have any other evidence to support the fact that he was helping you or that he agreed that this money was due and owed to you?
I have the email here where he was asking me to send a total of hours what he owed me.
May I see that, Kevin, please?
Kevin collects a document from Tracy, then brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
And then this is also the payment that he did pay me, the $300.
Well, this is from you.
Yeah, he asked me to send that to him because he kept acting confused.
But this is from you to him.
Correct.
Can I see your answer to this when she sends you this document?
I don't have that email.
Well,
and
do you have it?
I'm not sure if there's an answer. I could check my phone.
No. Okay. Now, in March, Miss Gallen, where's my money? You know, I'm taking care of your mom. There's no money. What does he say?
He kept blaming it on IHS. He needed to talk to them, and IHS just kept responding to me and was just like, he's crazy. I don't know why he keep reaching out to us. We keep repeating the same thing.
He said he never filled out forms.
Also, this is the contract that he signed stating that I am the IHS provider. If there's any extra fees that was over the hours that were allowed for her, that he would have to cover out of his pocket.
No, he said he never filled out these forms.
Well, no, that is the contract that he signed. We have to sign that with IHS first to approve me even being the worker for his mom. So once they approved me and I went through orientation, he signed that he would be responsible for the hours. I kind of marked it on there where it states that this is the contract and this, this is what comes with it. Also, here are the timesheets I submitted.
Okay, not necessary. He acknowledges that he didn't pay you any more than, he says 100, you said 3, that's actually in your favor, $2,612. I suggest you take it out of the $13,000 that you received from your mother's life insurance. I'm sure she would like her caregiver paid, the one who took care of her in the last couple of months of her life. Your counterclaim, which is ridiculous, is dismissed as for the reasons I already said. The fact that the defendant may have either smoked with or allowed your mother to smoke in the last couple of years of her life is ridiculous. You're the one who said to me, my mother is my mother is my mother. She'll do what she wants to do. Not something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're done. So's your counterclaim. $2,600.
This court is adjourned.
My mom's death. I've been doing everything I can to make sure that she was taken care of. And, it's unfortunate.
I'm really happy with the decision today. I was glad that she was able to see through all the lies and everything.
The plaintiff would give her cigarettes to stash for her so she would not overindulge herself smoking cigarettes.
Yes, I would go and get her the cigarettes because that was her last thing that she wanted, so.
At best, while taking care of my mom, she did a pretty good job with that. I've never denied that. I've also wanted her to get paid.
Just blamed it on IHHS and there was no really reason for him not to pay me at all. I've
been ready to put it behind me. This has been a nightmare since my mom's death and right before that. So I'm certainly glad to get it behind me.
I really did give her the best care that I could, She was happy. She was very happy, so I'm okay with everything.
Sarah.
Cases like this are sad, but it really shines the light on the whole sector that is elder law. And there's so many federal and state programs to make the elderly and vulnerable feel more comfortable, to be able to stay in their home, to be able to pick their own provider. But unfortunately, because of all the overlap and lack of oversight, there's a lot of fraud that takes place with the most vulnerable population. And like you were just talking about, your mother is the one that you rely on for a majority of your younger years, you know, to keep you alive, bathe you, feed you. And towards the end, it's just unfortunate that they don't receive the same care as we do in the beginning.
Yeah, that not being watched as carefully by the people that they cared for.
Yeah, but the plaintiff here surprised me. I mean, working 2 months, 5 days a week.
And she stuck with the job.
For no money and no real end in sight for when she was going to be paid. I respect her for that. She obviously cares about her business and about her craft as being a healthcare worker, so I appreciate that, but it shouldn't fall on kind-hearted people like that to take care of our elderly.
Maybe. Not sure. Yeah. I think that not everybody is fortunate enough to have children.
Yeah.
If you have children that fit into that mold. And I think that it's wonderful that the state, for those people that don't have loving families to support them if they're sick or elderly, for the state to provide a mechanism for those people to get from their bed to a bathroom, to another room, to a meal, perhaps. I think it's wonderful. I think that this country, Sarah, can't do everything.
Yeah.
And I know that we discussed a moment ago, not bringing in another case, but to me, when you don't give money to somebody who did work in the betterance of society, and you send stimulus money to prisoners who were there because they did something wrong, and you send $1.2 billion in stimulus money to people who are serving life terms in prison, to me, doesn't make sense. But perhaps somebody will straighten me out a couple of cases from now.
Maybe, we'll see.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
শেয়ার করে সম্ভবত নাকি লাইভই এটা
ওই কি আছে হ্যাকার কি আছে নাকি উদ্ধাও
ও ভাই এই যে ভাই করতেছে
আসছে হ্যাকার আসছে এই টেলিপোর্টার হ্যাকার সত্যি রিয়েল টেলিপোর্টার হ্যাকার ওই